Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 373rd episode of the Geek First podcast. And we got a big one because we have not reviewed a massive, huge movie since the summer. I am the Exalted One, Trust. Now, a big shout out to Brody Lee, Luke Harper, rest in peace, you great soul. I am joined by another person in a Santa hat.
I am the there's some juicy ones. I am the Make-A-Wish, not the Foundation, Taylor Field.
Fuck. That's such a name to go from. First of all, I'll introduce people. Then I have a question about Taylor's hat here. Joined by another person in a Christmas sweater.
Is that me?
Oh, that's me.
Are you wearing
You
a Christmas
definitely
sweater,
are not in
Kirklin?
a Christmas.
That's
I'm wearing a sweater that matched my outfit because I'm wearing all gray, and I just wanted to wear a gray sweater.
I am the apex predator, Jessica.
Ooh, very nice.
I want to be an apex predator. And then finally, we're joined by Wonder.
I am the video on demand, Kirklin Patzer.
There you
I can
go.
appreciate that.
That's
So
what this
Taylor,
felt like.
before we get in this review, I just have to ask, what is the deal with your hat? Your hat looks like, you look at my hat, it's a nice pink one, shout out to Gwen, it's like, whatever. Yours looks like the old man, 6-year-olds, apparently, when we're all men and we turn in our 60s, 70s, our junk's just going to be, hanging down the floor in a hot tub. That's what your hat looks like. It looks like it has, erectile dysfunction problem. It's so low. It's hanging sleeve of wizard.
It's the equivalent to when you're patting someone down and you look at the side of their pants and you just see that one pant leg that just got it going all the way down. That's what this is.
What?
I don't know what that is. The equivalent to
You
that.
never had
that
that?
scenario's never happened to me.
Oh, okay.
No, I've actually never been patted down before. Have you?
I think I have. I can't remember.
I have in an airport, but not sir, pull over, you're in trouble, spread them and do the alphabet backwards. But yeah, great hat, Taylor. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is a big review. We've talked about this. Before we get into that, Taylor Field, where can they find us on the interweb?
Ladies and gentlemen, you can find us with your internet connection in the search bar. Geekverse.ca is our home base. Geekverse on Facebook, and then Geekversecast on Twitter. Make sure you check us out on Facebook because we have a new marvelous Marvel Legends, or what was it, Legacy, Travis? I can't remember the term you said.
Marvel Legacy.
Legacy.
It's not live yet, though.
No, but we have a Marvel Legacy poll that is going to be popping off in the new year. It's going to be super exciting, so look forward to that. And be sure to check out our Patreon because we have so much content popping off there. Travis knows all about those exclusive shows, don't you, Travis?
He throws it to me because he doesn't know. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we're ending December here, but the last specials this month, we did After 9, of course, already. That's the exclusive show. We made it free for everybody this month, so check that out. But you can call in the future. Patreon call-in show, the Star Wars Holiday Special, Jingle All the Way, commentary tracks, was lots of fun. And there's multiple tiers where you can get stuff ad-free, early, exclusive episodes throughout the new year. We're going to be doing lots more content, lots of exclusive content, so you want to jump on that. You can request us to watch a movie. You can watch a movie along with us. So, yeah, tons of stuff going on there. And like Taylor said, just go to the website that has everything we do, that has links to the podcast network, which is 7 days a week, 10 shows, so that's good. We got, what did we drop last week? The Mando finale review, a last newscast. I just dropped a Soul review. Taylor will drop a Monster Hunter review if it ever goes live, but apparently it's still not live for you. Hate you.
No, they just hate me. I want to see my girl Mila popping off up there with Tony Jaa. Tony Jaa is the bee's knees, let me tell you.
Tony Jaa.
He's breaking legs and taking names.
Jessica, do you know who Tony Jaa is?
The Protector. All
Me
back,
neither.
1, 2, 3. So good.
There you go.
Never heard
So
of
there's
him.
your homework to watch those. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, so check out everything we do. And again, we just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. However you spent it, we hope it was good. We hope you're healthy and happy and safe. And we hope you're all full on food. We hope you're watching movies, playing video games, whatever it is. And as always, we just thank you for making us a part of your day or year or whatever. So does anyone have anything else to shout out or anything else to say before we get into Wonder Woman 1984?
I was gonna bring up
Jump in there.
chocolate tea while we did this, and I forgot it, and I'm sad.
Chocolate teat?
No,
Chocolate
like
tea.
to eat. Yes.
It's a teeth that gives you
Okay.
chocolate milk, Travis.
Okay, I was like, I don't know what presents you and Matt gave each other, but I don't know if you want to be talking about chocolate teats on live on air. That's an After 9 conversation. So
That's what chocolate milk comes out of. Brown cows with chocolate teats.
that's
right.
true. So, ladies and gentlemen, I have no transition from that, so we're just gonna jump right into it. I'm gonna
But you could have
go
asked.
in
You could
order.
have asked if Wonder Woman. You think if one of her powers is chocolate milk from her tits?
I know for a fact, as a comic book reader, I've not seen that one yet, but there's always time to change it up if you want to wish that. That's what this movie is about, is wishes and a whole bunch of stuff. So I'm gonna go in the order of the people I see on my screen. Taylor Field, what did you think about Wonder Woman 1984? We're gonna do our non-spoilers thoughts for everybody, all four of us. We're gonna throw to an ad break, and then after we'll be back with spoilers, getting a bunch into it. And yeah, Taylor, obviously this is a movie that's been delayed many times because of COVID. This was supposed to come out, I think, like originally 2018, like November. So it was one of those, like, for a while, or sorry, 2019 November. So it's been in the making for a while. It's been done for a while. Where are you on this one?
So it's like the New Mutant cyberpunk kind of thing going on with it.
Yep.
I am. I had to put a lot of thought into this because I really wasn't sure. I don't hate it. I won't go that far, yeah, but I definitely didn't like love it.
Worst movie of the year.
When
it
there's
was,
only 5 movies, that's not hard.
Yeah.
it was a good enough movie. Like I definitely enjoyed it. I felt like there were a few things that they tackled that just seemed kind of pointless. That like it didn't need to happen. And again, like maybe even like the whole story. Like I understand the trajectory of the story and how they had to do certain things, but to me it did feel kind of like pointless. But I get that. In my interpretation, the movie felt like one big character development sequence for Wonder Woman, and that's fine. It's telling a story, and that's great. It's definitely not higher than Wonder Woman 1 in I would say. So it's definitely something like I'd like to watch it again because it was entertaining and it had actually a lot of cool sequences. I will say, Kristen Wiig, this is probably my favorite performance of hers like I've ever seen her in, because like normally I've only seen her in things like Bridesmaids and like Ghostbusters and that kind of stuff, but like her as the villain kind of like role in this was just fantastic. I loved her as Cheetah. I think she just delivered it. I really felt like she's like bringing the A game. Like she sold it for me, so that was fantastic. But yeah, it's not like a great perfect movie, but it was a good movie. I have a question for you, Travis. Like you were talking about discourses. What does discourse mean?
Fuck. It means there's like lots of conversation. Like people, like the easiest way to say it is like arguing over something.
Oh, okay. I saw your
So
Twitter was
Last
like,
Jedi had a lot of discourse. You know,
Okay.
BBS had a lot of discourse. This
Your-
online has a lot of discourse.
your Twitter, like every post, like 20 posts today, all had discourse, and I was like, what the fuck does discourse mean? I don't even know.
It's that and divisive. Those are two words you've learned over these past few years. And raw dog. Don't forget that. You learned what raw
Oh,
dog
yeah.
meant. So that's good. So I just feel like after we're coming on 6 years like this summer, and I just feel like they've hardened Taylor Field. You know, like even when he opened up, he's like, I don't know how to think about this movie. It's like just even 3 years ago, I wouldn't even thought that would have been Taylor Field. So Jessica, what did you think about this movie? 184.
So I'm gonna start with my main thing. This did not need to be 2.5 hours. Like, holy
How long
cow!
it was? It was 2.5
It
hours.
was like
It was
2:35.
I didn't
It's
even
funny when I saw that,
realize.
when I paused it. When I paused, I was like, yeah, we're getting. At least it was like I'm getting a lot of bang for my buck here. But yeah,
Oof.
No, it was like an hour in, and I was like, oh, something's finally starting to happen. I like it. So I watched it with my mom and my brother and sister, and they all fell asleep. I was the only one that stayed awake for this movie. So, I mean, it was long and longer than I felt it needed to be. I will agree with Travis, so it was nice. It's like, okay, well, at least if I'm paying $30 to watch this, you know, it's giving me something to watch. But I definitely had thoughts about it. Things
that's not great.
I don't want to. We're doing non-spoiler, so
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Made you
Will
feel
you be
certain
watching
things?
it? Will you be watching it again at any point?
When it's free on a streaming service, I might watch it again.
But I mean, like, if you're cruising Netflix or whatever it is, and you see that, is that one where you're gonna hit play right away, or it's like, in a year or so I could watch this again? Like, what is that kind of ratio of like, like other than maybe I want to watch it because I missed something, like the enjoyment out of this. And would you recommend this to other people? Like obviously there's a bigger price tag, but still like with the price tag, if you had like yourself, your mom, your husband, that would have been over $30 right there, right? If you think about like if you all went to go see it. So it's like, do you recommend it, and what is your ratio as far as I need to see this again, or do you not need to see it again?
So, yeah, no, like Matt's like, oh, should I rent it? Because he worked today, so he went to bed early. He didn't watch it with me. And I'm like, honestly, this can wait. It's not, I don't feel the need to rent it again. This would be one, like, if we were sitting there cruising Netflix and it came up and Matt hadn't watched it yet, I'd be like, hey, you want to watch this now? If he wasn't with me, I'd be like, okay, I'm going to just scroll past that and continue on with my day.
How long did your rental last? Because isn't that, like, you watched it yesterday, so is that, like, less than 24 hours then?
It's 48 hours.
48 hours. So wouldn't you still have it today then?
Yeah, but how can I'm doing this.
No, I know, but you said that Matt said, should I rent it again? So I'm just wondering, like.
Yeah, so the other time to watch it would be right now, but he's with Kai.
Jessica doesn't want to watch it again. No.
So right now, because all the listeners need to know as well, like we don't have his crib or anything set up here, so we're just co-sleeping. So we can't just leave Kai in a king-size bed alone in a bedroom while Matt comes up and watches the movie and I podcast.
Yeah, you'll get it one day when you have kids.
If I was
You
a
look
little
really
kid, I'd
confused.
fucking
Though.
love it. A king-size bed all to myself. Like, Jesus, that's the bee's knees.
The size of a continent for a little one.
So in my order, it is Kirklin, but I'm gonna go next because Kirklin's like the biggest Wonder Woman fan. Kirklin's the biggest Wonder Woman fan. So like, I'll leave you. But Jessica, did you have any other final thoughts before we go into spoilers, or until I go to my portion?
No, I don't think so. I think a lot of it is gonna just kind of be things that'll come up when we're talking spoilers. I think just kind of my main thing was just it was too long for me. Yeah. So you gotta be able to sit down and be ready for that. Like the first hour, I felt I was pained.
Could have made some chops or some cuts along the way to kind of take some stuff out.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll leave Wonderkirk for last. So yeah, I'm a big fan of the first one. I've never done a rankings past 10, but I think as far as like top 15, top 20 comic book movies, the first one's in there. I absolutely love that one. Great action, great acting, all that sort of jazz you can check out. We just put the review of the first one in our feeds, like a retro one, so you can go back and listen to that if you want to hear what we thought. But this one, so I was excited for it. Just in the sense of I get excited for anything comic book movies. If you listen to the newscast, there was not any trailers that really did it for me. If you're a longtime fan, you know I have an extreme dislike of prequels. This film definitely doubles down on that. Of like, again, where I go, I just hate prequels because it's just like I feel like this movie, we'll get into in spoilers, really did not need to be a prequel, and they could have said it in present day, but that's fine. So we'll go on that. And there's just other things where I go, it's kind of eye rolly, but whatever.
It's a prequel sequel, so that's like a new weird thing.
A pre-sequel.
It is, but like I'll point out why it's still dumb when we get into like the spoilers, because it's just there's certain things that should have stakes, but they don't, because you know the ending, you know where these characters are going to end up. So that's kind of my problem with prequels in general. So that was an issue. As far as like, I guess I'll be positive. I think performance-wise, everyone's good to great in this. I think Gal Gadot is, if you watch the first one and you watch this one, you've seen in 3 years how much her acting has improved. I'm not saying she's a god-awful or bad actress. It's just that there was times in even the first Wonder Woman where there's some emotional scenes, like when Steve Trevor dies in that movie. I feel like this is someone acting, where now it's like there's emotional stuff that happens in this movie. It feels like she's Wonder Woman, Diana Prince. She's definitely growing. She hasn't acted that long if you look at her career, so she's gone much better, and I appreciate that. I still don't think she's like one of the best actresses in the world, but she's getting better, and she's just, which is a good thing as an actor. You want to be progressing. So I think she's kind of the shining of this movie. It's kind of the same way I always talk about Downey or something like that, as far as I could watch other Wonder Woman movies in the future if they're not that good, even if she's in them, because I think she just does good at the role. Pedro Pascal is great. He is just chewing the scenery in this movie. He is just hamming it up, having like a huge good time. Kristen Wiig is fine. I'm not the same way as Taylor. I was very worried about Kristen Wiig going in this movie because all she does is comedy, and it's comedy actors can be dramatic, but she does a certain type of comedy. She does that a little in this movie. I think my problem was the writing for that character wasn't good enough for her to really break out. I think she did better than I thought, but I still saw Kristen Wiig a lot of times. She didn't knock on the park where I went, wow, I didn't know Kristen Wiig had that. Where I just saw, I don't like the movie, but The Devil All the Time with Tom Holland. And I like Tom Holland, but that was the first time I really saw him act. I was like, oh, this guy has a second gear. I haven't seen that from Wiig yet, so I don't think she was bad, but she's nothing to write home about for this. I think it's just like a really messy movie. It's enjoyable. It's a fun. This is a comic book adventure. Diana Prince is on another, quest to fight bad guys. Sure. It works that way, but it's nothing in pre-COVID world. I would have been like, you got to get out and see that. I think it's different now because like lack of films, people are probably just looking for content, but it's not like the first one. Where the first one, I remember going to everybody like, you got to see this. You got to watch this. This is great. This is just, if you like Wonder Woman, you'll watch it, but you can wait. And I really think that, I think it's messy. I think there's too much going on. Like I said, I think the prequel stuff hurt it. There's some good themes in there, but it's just, I'm with Jessica as far as, I don't know if it needed to be shorter, but they just needed to maybe find a succinct path for all the stories to intertwine. It felt like there's maybe too much going on, kind of a classic sequel thing, and not enough. I feel like there's 3 sections of this movie and not one got a really strong showcase. So yeah, those are my initial thoughts as far as, like I said, if I recommend it. If you're a big Wonder Woman fan, if you're a DC fan, sure. If not, you could maybe wait. But Kirkland, I'm going to throw it over to you because you love Wonder Woman. So what were your thoughts on the sequel?
Yeah, I absolutely love the first movie, as we've all known, which I got a review for hearing me just praise over that one. That one's just so amazing. And for this film, I feel like my peaked hype level was like shortly before it was coming out originally, or like before it got pushed back. So I feel like it getting pushed back quite a bit of times, and then just seeing it like in my living room for like on release day, that was kind of weird for me. And I feel like I wasn't really at that like hype level again. It was just like, oh wow, okay, yeah, like Wonder Woman sequel's out, so I gotta watch this and just see how it is. And I don't know if it was my lack of hype or again, like the original trailers that they showed, I wasn't really too blown away by them. And yeah, whatever the factors were, I just wasn't like the best mindset going into it, and I felt like, I don't know, really not too positive on it, honestly. I felt it was like really long. Like I would agree with Jessica, there was a lot of sequences that were just really drawn out, and I just felt like that we need to get some action here pretty soon. Or like there was a couple times I would like pause it and be like, oh my god, like I still have hours left, like, and like that's not a good thing, like to go into a sequel for how good that first movie was. And like I've rewatched that movie multiple times, and I'm so into that movie every time I watch it. But yeah, this one I was just like, I can't believe this is a sequel to that movie. Like this is just, I was really not into it, honestly. The biggest wonder, pun not intended, for me going into this was like how Steve was back to life, and like how they were doing all these things, like, you know, like the Pedro Pascal. I don't want to go too deep into spoilers
just
or anything, but
like what the mystery was. You're wondering what the hell's going on, because in the trailers they don't really. If I think a good thing, I was always like, yeah, they don't show much story, but they didn't really show anything in the trailers to tell you like, why is this woman turning into a cheetah? Why is it like it's just like random stuff's happening?
Exactly. So that was like what I was most interested in. Sorry, go ahead, Jessica.
I didn't watch any of the trailers for this. Typical me. So I had no idea about anything going into this. But
so
that
even
was one
Steve
thing.
Trevor, you didn't know he was coming back?
No.
Oh,
no.
That's
what I was gonna say actually is that as soon as this movie started, and it's like, you know, Gal Gadot, and then Chris Pine, I was like, oh well, shit. I guess Chris Pine's back. Guess something's gonna happen. So that's what I was gonna say is like, kind of ruined the surprise for me, because I was like, waiting for that something to happen. Kind of the same thing as the trailers, right?
Yeah, it's definitely that they never they at least weren't trying to hide, though. It was in every single trailer, and they even came out and said like he's coming back for this. So they did never try to hide, at least in the public, for people. So, but I get what you mean. It would have been nice if you didn't know. That would have been that would have been fun.
So I mean, when the moment happens, like where you can tell when he's coming back, like the wind, you know, that at that point you're like, oh, okay, well there it is. But still, up until that moment, it would have been fun.
Yeah, I feel like the whole, like what the surprise was, it was just really lackluster for me. I don't know if that's like a thing from the, I don't know the comics too well, but like, is this again, this is probably better for spoiler talk, but the like what the surprise was, I was just pretty let down with it. And I wasn't too impressed. So I feel like that was kind of a big moment of the movie. Like this is the, I don't know, thing we have to defeat to a sense. And I just wasn't really into it for that. So that definitely didn't help. But I don't want to shit on the movie. Like overall, like it looked phenomenal. And I agree with you guys. Like the acting was stellar. I totally will double down with what you said, Travis. I really feel like she became Wonder Woman in this sequel, more so than the first one. I definitely agree with that point. Like even though I didn't love this movie, the next one that comes out, I'm going to be pumped to watch just because I really like this character, Gal Gadot, as the role. It's phenomenal. And I really liked Kristen Wiig's performance too. I was pretty unsure on how I was going to feel about it, especially just with what the character that she's supposed to be looks like. Like in the comics, it's definitely comic booky and like really out there. And so it was interesting to see what they were doing for a live action version. But I was pretty okay with it. But yeah, overall, not didn't blow me away, but at the same time, like I don't really know what I was expecting because it was just been pushed back so long that I feel like I didn't really have too high of an expectation for it, in a weird way.
The classic overhyped scenario, and
Yeah.
they talk about it, then it's like, oh well, it's here. So, well, this should be fun. I'm sure we're gonna get people saying we absolutely hate DC again. It's like a flashback when we started the podcast. Even the majority of the people liked BVS, but people don't remember that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna throw to our first ad break here, and then Kirklin, after that, you'll start your glorious timer, and we're gonna throw an ad break, and then we'll be right back with spoilers. So if you listen past this ad break, it's on you, ladies and gentlemen. So we'll be right back.
I don't know why I waved
I
was like,
see you later. Well, the video people will see you wave, so that's nice. But so what I want to do with this review, I wanted to do 3 sections. I wanted to cover the Wonder Woman Steve stuff, the Wonder Woman Cheetah stuff, and then like the Maxwell Lord stuff. Because there's kind of like, I'd say like those 3 stories. So what do we want to start with as far as like Taylor,
I got a question. I
gasped.
got a question though.
No, you answer my question, sir. I asked you a simple question.
Well, I mean, it's group majority votes. I mean, I'm gonna let Wonder Kirk really pick 'cause he's the Wonder Man.
Taylor, what was
the
your question? I was just bugging you. You didn't even laugh, so you just played off like I was a super serious asshole or something like that. He was just like, his father just yelled at him. Like, no, what was your question, sir?
Do you think?
Fuck.
So the wishes and all that jazz.
Yeah.
You've got. I'm assuming Bruce Wayne is a little taut at this time, right?
Yes.
So, do you think he wished for his parents to be brought back alive, and do you think he renounced his wish?
no, if anything, he would have wished. If anything, he would have wished for like to be Batman, and that's why his parents were taken away.
No, I think Taylor's right as far as like he'd still be like a little guy. So I don't think Batman's in his scope yet. People have been joking about this on Twitter. I like the finale's themes. I hate the whole newscaster. We're projecting it to everybody and they can just wish. It got super convoluted and super messy. Just felt like a blender of so much going on. So like, I guess I just don't like that. Like everybody had these wishes and no one remembers this thing in 1984. Like it's just something that's ignored. So I'll say I'm going to say no, because I'm hoping it didn't hit Bruce Wayne. Like it didn't, he wasn't in Radiant. Like Wayne Manor has some sort of fucking shield around it. Like, I don't know. I don't like the idea that everybody's like wish came true. It got a little hokey for me, that part. It got too grand.
Well, maybe
Are we starting with the ending here? Because I have questions about that.
Yeah.
maybe the Maxwell part stuff works. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about Maxwell. We'll talk about the great Pedro Pascal, main character in The Mandalorian.
So when Wonder Woman, when Diana like took back her wish and then he disappeared. So how come when Maxwell took back his wish, everyone else like their wishes technically, because his wish never happened, because so wouldn't everyone else's wish then not happen as well because he couldn't have had the powers to grant the wishes?
That's how I took it. So that's why I thought, oh, you don't have to get everyone to renounce it, because when he renounces it, he's the source, so they should all go away. Apparently, that's not how it works. I don't really know how it works because Diana never actually fucking says, I wish Steve Trevor was back. So it's just like if I were standing around and be like, man, I wish I had some sex right now, would I automatically just start having sex in the middle of the street?
Like orgasms out.
Well, yeah. Yeah. But like, you have to, like like the "Jizz in My Pants" song by Andy Samberg. Like,
Yeah.
what's wrong with Travis? You can't. But like, that's where it was like, the whole monkey paw wish thing was very all over the place, and that's time where like I can make some headcanon things, but I think they even got to the point where even my headcanon's like, no, that doesn't make sense, and it just felt like I won't say the laziest, but a lazy way to make a lot of things happen, to progress the plot, to get. And the Steve Trevor thing, I wouldn't mind if she would have actually said, I wish I could have Steve Trevor back. That's fine. And I have the same thing as you as far as, yeah, once he loses that, all of his wishes should be gone. But we kind of get this moment. I get what they're going for. They're trying to go for this, like, everybody's together, seeing the best in each other. Let's renounce our wishes.
That's bullshit. That's not going to happen. No one's going to renounce their wishes.
But that's what
100%.
no, but like this is what's supposed to happen in these movies, right, Taylor? It's like a star is supposed to give you hope. So the hope is people will not be greedy. So I get what they were going for. I just don't. I think it was very messy the way they went for it. I don't think it worked, because I agree with you. I don't think everyone would renounce their wish, but that's the hope. So I can buy that. But the way it happened, I don't know.
Well, not just that, because I mean, like as I mentioned earlier, it took an hour for the first anything to happen. Like I remember pausing, because something was finally starting to happen. And so, but then they took like 10 minutes for the entire ending. Like, what happened to the stone after? And, you know, it's supposed to be every single person renounces their wish or their civilization collapses. And, like, there's no way that everyone, you know, and then he was on this flight to get to this bunker. And then all of a sudden he just runs out of the bunker and he's with his son. There was no flying involved. Like, there was just so many problems with the ending. It just, the spacing could have been moved a little more.
Yeah. I really feel like, because people brought this up too, is like, we didn't even see her get that golden armor. We didn't see Kristen Wiig actually transform into Cheetah. She's just Cheetah. So it legitimately does feel like there's some stuff missing. I'll throw up some things in the chat.
It's a 2.5 hour movie. Like, did they cut it down from 3.5 hours?
Oh,
Like,
Patty
Jesus.
Jenkins, director, has said there's cut stuff already. So, you know, hashtag release the Patty
She
cut.
didn't
But
even have to say it. We could tell.
but in our YouTube chat, Jay says, honestly, I don't think everyone will renounce their wish just because some random lady gave them a pep talk, LMAO. And then Clay, shouts to fanboy Clay, he says that I think the audience is supposed to assume that everyone renounced their wish before Max renounced it. So he's kind of saying that maybe it's not edited the greatest, but it's like everyone did it before he did. I think, Clay, you're right. That's what they're going for. But
that one Irish guy, when he's like, I wish you dropped dead, and then he turns around and sees his people like getting arrested. He didn't turn around. I don't even think he knew the girl was dead. He just chose to say, I renounced my wish, but he didn't know she died.
And then of all the things he wished for, it's just so awkward. Like, I wish you were dead. Like, first of all, I don't know. Is that like supposed to be like an ex-girlfriend or something? Is that what we're going?
No, I think
sounds like it was
like
his
a
wife.
Irish dynamic, you know, like get out of my bar kind of thing. They're always at each
Okay,
other's
so you
heels,
think
I
it's
guess.
that, and Jessica, you think it was a wife. I took it as like a wife too, which is just like, let's say, so Taylor, that's fine. If it's an argument, a bar, that's fine. But how do you come back from in a marriage if I wish you were dead and you died? That's a deal breaker right there. They're not recovering from
she
that.
says, like, I wish all you Irish folks would get out of this country or something like
Yeah.
that. So
I don't
Okay.
think they were.
Okay, yeah,
in a
you're right. Then
relationship.
I didn't catch that line. That's what happens when you have screaming kids. Sometimes when they have a horse they can ride. And so thanks, Grandma Brost. But yeah. What did we think about Maxwell Lord as the character? Obviously,
But I have more problems with the ending still.
Go ahead.
Okay, so when he's in the bunker and he's like, yes, wishes, and there's like the wind blowing all around him, and she's like trying to use her lasso and it can't fight the wind, but then she falls on the ground and the lasso somehow like snakes up to his leg. Like,
they cut that
Is
scene,
is the
too.
lasso part snake? Is that a
Cut
thing?
that.
I don't got an answer for that one. It just, I guess it snuck by this wind machine. But yeah, I thought that was a little strange. But yeah, that one I legitimately don't have any kind of like headcanon as far as how that happened.
Yeah.
She's just like lying on the
100%.
ground crying and it magically like slithers up.
I
don't
thought she
know.
was like on the camera, or had the camera that she whipped was like facing her, and she was talking to the camera this whole time. Cause like I felt like something was up, and he's like, you know, why you're not talking to me, or why are you talking to me? And she's like, I'm not talking to you, and it was the people. It was really weird.
Exact
It's
scene
all-
how it went.
yeah, all
Why are
the
you talking to me?
screens
I'm
were
not
yellow.
talking to you.
All the screens were yellow because she was projecting like the lasso of truth through him.
Yeah.
But the lasso was wrapped around his leg. So she was talking to everyone else through him.
Yeah. But how to get there, I don't know. I don't know if anyone noticed, but I'm sure the big DC people did. That's where Beautiful Lie, the same track in BVS that when Batman loses his parents in the alley, that was the same soundtrack playing during that scene. So
what's the
it's been
catch?
used
What's the connector? Is that like?
I don't know. I honestly didn't really enjoy them using Beautiful Lie. I just think it did it was fine there. I know lots of DC people were losing their shit over it. I just think it was like I could have took something original, but I don't know. It's just depressing stuff's going on. I don't know.
So
It's
that's what his Pedro's wish was. He's like, I'll give you your parents. It's granted, but I'm gonna take their health and their organs, so I can their life force, and they die.
yeah, they were
again.
done no matter what. What else do you have at the ending, Jessica?
I think that was kind of the main one for as far as the ending. I mean, there was like the what happened to the stone. If anyone knows the answer to that,
Yeah, that was like my assumption was when the power of granting wishes left Maxwell. Like, did it just go back into the stone? That's what I would imagine. Or is it just?
But the
gone
stone
now?
had like evaporated into dust. So did it just like reform itself?
I would assume that's what should happen, but they didn't show that. Like
That
I would
cut.
thought.
bothered me
yeah.
that they didn't answer any questions.
Yeah, and I thought that the stone would be back there as kind of like a MacGuffin of like, well, this could come back one day. Like we gotta hide it, But it was just kind of no. I guess it's just gone, and we destroyed it in a sense. Like I guess maybe him renouncing that he wants to be the stone destroys the stone, because they did say we have to destroy the stone to get rid of these wishes, or people have to renounce it. But it's kind of a cop out, Like they probably should have had. I would have not preferred, because you want to have that, I guess, nice moment with him and his son, but he probably should have, for story purposes, like killed himself, and that would have made sense of like, okay, he was the stone, he died. And I liked what they're going for when he sees his son. I just think it's funny because like I think you guys are right that it is a little long. I don't mind because I like long movies, but I think with him and with Kristen Wiig, I needed like a little bit more of certain scenes, and I would have liked just a little bit more with him and his son. Like I got the dynamic. I liked that. He wasn't a piece of shit father. He was, because he was not paying attention to him, but like he cared about his son. But I just wanted a little bit more, because they do a little bit at the beginning of bonding, and then he's gone for like 2 hours, and then and he doesn't even pay attention to his son. And then at the end, he's like, Alistair, my son. Like that's the whole turning point. So if we could even just had like another 5-minute scene of like them going to a restaurant eating food together or something. I just want to, of course, I have children, I get it, but there's pieces of shit out there that don't care about their kids. So it was kind of on that line of like, he loves his son, but he might love his business more. I wish there was a little bit more to show like his son really did mean a lot. And I guess like they did do that scene where the son like touched him accidentally and said, I just wish for your happiness. So they did, but he was playing like coked out over there. He was like, oh, you can't do that. And his eyes are bleeding. He's looking like a person in Rutland at 2 a.m. So Kirklin from Geekers Podcast, you had your hand up.
What did he say in that moment? Because his like the kid was gonna wish for like more time with his dad, wasn't he?
Yeah. Well,
he's like, don't waste your wish on that. It's like, holy, okay, Dad. What should I wish for?
Yeah, He's like, well, he said, yeah, don't wish for something you already have. But it's like, well, he doesn't have it because you're gone all the time, fucking touching people. And then he said he just wished for him to be happy, which I don't know like what that resulted in, because like maybe that is somehow some magical way of like he saw Alistair and he realized that's how he could be happy. So I think it's like the theme in the movie. I appreciate what they're going for. I just don't know if it was
wasn't the actual wish he wanted to be as great as his dad?
Was that
something like that? Well, he made two. He made
but what does
one,
that even
and
fucking
the dad
mean
shut
then?
him down. Then he's like, I want to be as great as you. And then the dad tried.
Yeah, the first one was like, I want to be with you, Dad. I just want to spend time with you.
But
He's
he
like,
wasn't touching him, so that's it's fine.
But it also doesn't matter, because he says that he decides if the wish goes through or not, because he decides what he wants to take in return.
Yeah, so
really, if he didn't even so the kid could make all the wishes he wants. If he doesn't take anything in return, the wish doesn't go through.
Mm-hmm. I got some questions from the chat because they seem just as confused as us. Why couldn't she get the lore of Cheetah from the comics where she gets the gift from a god? I don't know. It's tough because like when you're adapting stuff, I understand why you need to change that. Like that's not Cheetah's origin. They never told us whose health he stole back to return to normal. I just assumed like everybody's health, like when he was standing in that, like it was just like he's just taking. There's random people around the world just walking like, oh my liver, like they're just collapsing. Like
they just know specifically it's their liver.
He's wishing for a new liver, and he gets his kidney removed.
Well, whatever it is, yeah. And then why did Cheetah get a second wish but no one else? I don't know, Clay. That's I guess the way I took it.
He's like, I grant the wishes. He's like,
well, that was one wish with the stone and one wish with him. So maybe it's two.
Yeah, I
two
guess that's the
lords.
cheat, right? Even though he's technically the stone now, right? But it's I don't know, it's movie like kind of throw over your shoulder logic of like, well, he gets another wish, and even then, like, we'll get to Cheetah. I get why she want to be powerful and everything, but it's just like when you get these powers and you turn and be like, did you have to turn me into a fucking cat lady? Like, did you guys like?
She has to be an apex predator.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
And
but
she got bedazzled.
cheetah is definitely like maybe like an alpha predator. I don't know. I'm not into my zoology. Is it like apex? 'Cause, like if you're talking apex, like Killer Croc, he's an apex, and like
Well-
Shark Guy, he's an apex.
She's half cheetah, half human though, so that's pretty apex. Humans are apex.
I mean, that is, and part of the Amazonian too.
Because
Yes,
Wonder Woman,
that's true.
so she was stacked. She still lost to Wonder Woman, but she broke through that armor. That was like, like the armor could hold like 10,000 men, but not Cheetah.
Asteria's armor.
No.
Cheetah was destroying that thing. But yeah, like
I got
as far
another
as
question
Paige,
about the stone for you after
Go
there
ahead,
too,
yeah.
Travis.
go ahead.
Do you know, because when there was the outside of the stone that she was saying like it'll grant one wish or whatever, and then after it disintegrated, there was writing on the inside that she says was writing from the gods. Anywhere in the comic book does it mention like what that inside writing is, or because it doesn't
no,
actually go into that?
And this is one thing I'll say to the cheap plug when DC Alliance does a review. Chris, who's like a comic book savant, I read DC comic books. Wonder Woman is not one that I have in my back pocket of like, I can tell you everything about Wonder Woman. I can tell you the basics and some characters and some villains, but she's never. I've read Wonder Woman more recently, like before and after the movie, but as far as anything, like as far as the lore, I'm not going to be able to whip it out like, hey, I can tell you when James Howlett was born, and that's Logan and stuff. Where Wonder Woman's like, like I know there's some weird stuff going on with Themyscira, and I know the Cheetah used to be her best friend, and now she's an enemy. So I don't know if there's anything specific to the comics that would say something, but I bet there's not, because as someone pointed out in our chat, they said, why didn't they stick to the comic book lore, the comic book origins of Cheetah, who just kind of, she wants these powers to be as strong as Diana. So it's kind of similar, but that's kind of, it is that monkey paw thing of like, she turns into a cheetah. And someone I think in the chat said, what did she lose the first time? Jay said, and what did Barbara lose every time she made a wish? Diana says her joy, but it seemed like she was just mad because Diana was trying to turn her back to normal. Well, it's up to impersonation, I guess, or interpretation as far as you could just say that she's just mad. Now, I don't, and I had 3 sections, but whatever, fuck it. We're kind of jumping all over. I was going to ask you this, Jessica, because so since Batman Returns, if people don't know what Batman Returns is, that's Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman, white gold. They did this thing where she kind of plays the frumpy loser, and that's the whole thing where she goes on to be Catwoman. And we've seen this before with like Riddler and Jamie Foxx's Electro, and we see it again here. Like, I was worried about this in the trailers. I was really bummed when all her motivations is just like, I want to be cool and sexy like Diana, and like, and this is the thing. That's why I can ask you, because I asked Emily the same thing. This is written by a woman, directed by a woman. So to me, it just feels like that feels like a dude thing to be like, why she want this? Oh, because she wants to be cool and sexy like Deanna Prince. But it's like, couldn't we think of like anything better? And I get eventually it turns into like, I've always felt weak and powerful, but it just feels like a very dated trope thing of one we've seen in other comic movies before, but just kind of seen in movies. But how did that feel for you?
I definitely can see where you're going with it, and I can understand the movie as well. But I think there would have been a better way to word it to make it seem not, kind of so pathetic, if that's the right word.
Well, yeah, because I watched it twice. Like, I hadn't watched it fully. I watched it once, and I watched it half last night while I was like cleaning up. And because I wanted to see what did she actually say, and she said she wanted to be strong, cool, and sexy, which I just like. I don't know. I guess you can wish to be cool. I guess, but it just felt like you said, pathetic. And I guess that is the point of the character. I just wish that it just feels like it's kind of a like high school girl. Like, I wish I could be like the popular girl.
But
it's like, okay.
then again, just thinking about it here now, I mean, if someone handed me something and they're just like, here, make a wish on this, I'd be like, oh, I sure wish that I could do this. And it, you wouldn't take it seriously. So it's not like she actually was given this stone and was like, okay, whatever I wish right now, when I think back to that scene, she is just kind of sitting at her desk and she's kind of like daydreaming about it. Like, oh, it sure would be nice to have, people swoon over me and to be able to defend myself in the park. I don't think in that scene that it was like a serious, I wish that I could fly and beat the shit out of people, so I can understand
Is that what
it
you
in
wish
that
for,
sense.
Jessica? I wish I could fly and beat the shit out of people.
I mean, with modern technology, I can kind of do both of those things.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Taylor? You've been quiet for a while. How did you take Cheetah's like kind of becoming? And Jay also put in the chat like what changed the first time, because it's like he said she just didn't look like a librarian anymore. But I think the point was one, like she got the Wonder Woman strength, but I think it was a sense of being confident about herself. Like when she's walking around, she's not like slouch. She's like upright. She's smiling a lot, and that's like the guys take notice of her. And I think it's almost like a magical trance in a way too. But that's the way I also took it. It's like she just. This power gives her like a sense of self-worth now, and that's why people are taking notice, like, "Oh, hey, Barbara," stuff like that. So
I
Taylor
don't think it was people taking. Sorry, I'm gonna go before Taylor. I don't think it was just people taking notice of her because she was more like arched back. I think that is the stone. Is that people forced? The same as saying if I wish I had sex right now, I think women would just appear. That's just the stone.
Or men, whatever you want.
Yeah. I won't judge.
Or just a fleshlight.
Just a flashlight.
I want sex right now with an inanimate object.
Well, two things. Like on like them like wishing for these things. I just realized that guy that asked for that coffee at the beginning and he wished for it and he got it. I'm thinking like, okay, like how would that backfire? Like either it's acid, but it wasn't, so he drank it. So I'm picturing he's gonna have like the shits later or something like that. Like
Yeah.
So that
First of all, I
milk.
took it as like a more life vital. Like it's not just gonna give you the shits. Like I think that's like you get off pretty easy there. Like if everyone's ever watched, they refer to Monkey Paw, but everyone go watch the Brendan Fraser movie Bedazzled. We're gonna do one day on the podcast.
Yeah.
But it's like the same way like Brendan Fraser wishes to be all powerful, and he is, but then he turns out he's a Mexican drug lord. So it's like I don't think in my version he would just have the shits. Like if you look at Diana, when she wished for Steve to be back, she was becoming mortal. She was losing her powers, and like a gun could take her down now. So I literally think like he would take the coffee, and then the next day he'd find out he has cancer. Like I think it'd be something like like maybe not as bad, but like I don't think it's just the shits.
I see. So it's not based on like the severity of like your wish. Like if you wish to have someone back from the dead, you become mortal. But if you wish for coffee, no, you just get cancer. That's shitty.
That's my headcanon. They didn't really answer that, right? So it's kind of up to the viewer.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, no, good point on Bedazzled. That was my second point. I was gonna say this. I realized this is literally just him taking that crying at sunsets kind of thing. But yeah, the whole thing with Cheetah. It's so good.
Great movie.
Yeah, Cheetah. I don't know. I found her. I found her interesting. Again, I totally went over my head. The whole scenario of her just being that klutzy little like geek, just kind of like dropping things and wanting to be cool, all that kind of stuff. Because you're right. It's been done so many times in other movies. I mean, when has there not been a time where I've seen this muscular hunk just walking past me? And I just think like, look at that guy. Like I'd totally like to be.
Sees me walking by.
Damn it, Kirklin, you took my joke.
I knew you were going there,
for every
Travis.
time, Taylor. Couldn't I be cool and sexy like Travis?
No, I'm already sexy. That's not my wish. So,
but not cool.
Just cool, yeah. But no, it's just she does it like super casually, Jessica. I think you're spot on with that. It wasn't like she was aware that this is it and she was making her wish. She was just holding it casually and just like. La-di-da, like let's say like I'm holding Cyberpunk, like maybe it's the mythical god version from Project Red. I'm just like, oh, I wish this game wasn't so buggy, and then it came true without me really knowing it. So who knows?
Oh, you just made the wish, Taylor.
Yeah, I saved their lawsuit and everything.
Yeah, I bet the reason Taylor liked Cheetah because like were you secretly attracted to her when she was in Cheetah form, Taylor? It's okay, you don't have to lie.
I've never seen Cats, and I will not watch that movie. But no, I found her to be like super. I found her super attractive when she was rocking like the cheetah like shoulder things. Like every scene she kept popping up, she's getting like more 80s and like the perm and like going like more. I'm digging this style. Like this is like super like, ooh. Yeah, but then like that cheetah form popped, and I was like, no, I got some cats here. Like they can have at her or something like that.
So Kirklin, we talked a lot. We kind of talked about cheetahs, that kind of origin, but also talked about the wishes. Obviously, I know you talked a little bit about anything more to add on those guys.
Well, for Cheetah, I definitely agree with your point there, Travis. How, like when she was first introduced as just kind of like the klutz, like this character that I've already seen before, in so many different like styles of movies like this, where okay, well I know that she's eventually just gonna get pissed off and then be evil, even though like she starts as just the innocent, like maybe not so cool character. And then yeah, like her motivation was a little strange. I also found like her just turning evil, like it felt really just out of
Yes.
character. Like, yeah, like it sucks that you won't be cool and everything anymore, but like really is that enough to just go full evil? Like she seemed like a really nice person when she first gets introduced, like she's really caring for everyone. So like the whole switch I just felt really out of character for me. It didn't work the best.
Especially once it's literally becoming like world wars. Like that's when it's
Yeah.
like, okay. And I guess people will say like, well, Wonder Woman did say she lost her humanity, but it's like, I guess, but it's just like, but at the end, Kirkland, she does renounce her wish. So eventually she did realize that she was in the wrong, right?
Yeah. And so yeah, and then like build up to her being Cheetah now and fighting Diana. I felt like that whole sequence, it was all right. I wouldn't say it was
Mhm.
amazing. I wouldn't say it was terrible, but for like the big like finale battle, because really what Diana did with Maxwell, like that wasn't like a boss fight. Like that was just her trying to get him off the camera and her trying to get on the camera. Like so for me, like a big like end battle scene, similar to like if we take BVS, like them versus what's his name, Apocalypse?
Doom,
No,
Dark Side.
Dark Side.
Crossover.
I'm mixing up. I'm mixing up Marvel and DC, yeah. But so like I was expecting like a big awesome battle like that, and like with her and Diana and Cheetah, for example, I just felt like it was kind of lackluster.
You got
Go
2
ahead,
minutes.
Jessica of Geekverse podcast. 2 minutes.
No,
I
the
just
fight
this
was
is
2
kind of
minutes.
changing.
Oh, okay.
you get 2 minutes, Jessica. That's it. Then Taylor wants his turn back. You get 2 minutes, bub. Yeah, go ahead.
You should have raised your hand. This is just another question. I mean, thinking about it, when you were saying that she wanted on the screen, it doesn't make sense too. She talked to everyone in the entire world in English.
Well, the lasso does many things, Jessica. So I'm sure it translated her as well. It's because remember she says that to Steve. It doesn't just show you the truth or whatever. So like I think that it has it's a classic movie. Like it does whatever the fuck you want it to do. Like it's kind of that. It's like the Infinity Stones. Like you need to be able to speak 10 million different languages. Well, the lasso will do that for you. You need to show Steve Trevor a flashback. The lasso will do that for you. You need a good vibrator. The lasso will do that for you. Like I think it does anything and everything. It's the ultimate like Swiss Army knife, which would be great. I'd love to have that. Just cheese on command. Boom. Hey, I'm out of cheese. But whatever.
Just send the lasso as a snake to the store to go get some more cheese in a can.
And people are like, "What the fuck is that?" But no, I agree with you, Kirkland, that it's just the fight. And like honestly, Cheetah didn't look awful, but I also think it's because they put her in the dark, so I think that
They
kind of
try
helps.
to hide her, definitely.
Yeah, there's many times where in Cats they're just on a fucking Broadway show, and you're like, I can clearly see these terrible looking CGI things. So I don't think she was awful. I don't think she was Mandalorian finale bad, but I'm with Kirkland. It's not gonna make the Golden Geeks best scenes later on when we do that this year. It's not gonna be one where I'm like, oh, like there might be one scene in here I would shout out, but I don't even know if it'll make it in the top 5 to be honest, even for our nom. So there's nothing, and I think that's the one bummer of this movie too. Is the first one, it's not that it just has a memorable scene; it has so many memorable scenes and memorable parts. Where this one, I kind of have. I'll save my second most memorable because I think it's Gal Gadot's best acting in the movie. And then the other one is the opening. I actually did really like the opening. I've heard doing like the Hunger Games sort of like style of her as a kid. I really like that. I could take a whole movie of them just doing fucking games at Themyscira because I thought that was fun. I thought that you're seeing the dynamics. There's like an Olympic sport to it. So, and I liked it wasn't too long because in the previews they showed that there would be flashbacks. I was really worried there was going to be like 2 or 4 like flashbacks to, we're in a prequel already and then showing her as a kid. I thought that was a great way to start the movie. It shows like you can't take shortcuts and stuff, which kind of shows like, okay, that's why she wishes Steve Trevor away because that's a shortcut. So that was a memorable scene. I don't think it was like anything I'm going to say, oh, one of the best scenes I ever saw, but I really like that. But the Cheetah fight, unfortunately, it wasn't up to standards, I guess, for like a huge finale I would like. So.
And how is Diana able to withstand the electricity just because she's a god?
Yep.
And then
she's swinging on lightning.
Cheetah wished to be like Diana, so then she would be a god too, wouldn't she? Like she had all
Well,
the
she's
same
like
powers.
Diana. She's not Diana.
Yeah. Plus she has hair, so that probably like catches really quick. You know, like I know Diana has hair, but she has cheetah hair, so you know it's like going
That's
really
true.
well.
Well, and
Yeah.
she was wearing the armor too, wasn't she at that point still?
Yeah, she was still
Yeah.
wearing the eagle armor, so there you go. She's covered up, but
On the note of the finale like ending after like because like the whole ending I feel like was like 10 minutes in this 2.5 hour long movie, but when she was like standing in like the snow time and all that stuff, everything was like super
big
chippy and
time
cheery.
jump.
Yeah, big time jump. So what was the point of this
It was
random
4th
dude?
of July.
Like
Would be-
the guy coming up, I get was supposed to maybe like resemble Steve Trevor in his clothes or but like this random fucker just pops up. I don't know who the fuck he is. I
That
don't.
was
No,
that was
you
Steve's
don't-
body.
Yeah.
That was
really?
Steve's body. That was who he was
Yeah.
reincarnated in, and that was the
Oh,
outfit that
okay.
she told him to wear. That he said it would look ridiculous.
Okay, because I thought it was just
Good
like this is
coincidence.
so like yeah,
Mhm.
coincidence. Like what the fuck?
So many months later, like I said, the movie was taking place on July 4th, and then we get this flash forward to fucking December, Christmas time. It's like, what? Why do
Christmas
we like? It's
movie,
not. Yeah, it's not like a big. Yeah, it is. It now it's a Christmas movie. No, like it's not like a big negative for me. I was just like, really, we're in Christmas and she's bumping into this dude, and it's just like, and like all of a sudden now it's like for 70 years she couldn't get over Steve, but now she's looking at this guy like, yeah, I could be into this guy. Kirklin Patzer of Geek First Podcast raising his hand.
I also had like some issues with the fact that this guy that Steve just like took over his body, like he was just taken, like literally kidnapped for
Let's talk about that.
however long Steve was in this guy's body. Like he was just gone. What if you had kid? Like, you know, what if you had a family and kids, and, like some responsibilities? He's just gone from the face of the earth.
Well,
So-
not only that, but he stole a government jet. Like he's probably wanted by the American government.
Yeah, he's the most wanted man. He just got out doing time. That's where he was. Well, like, yeah. So like when he wakes up, where does he think he's been? But here's the other thing that I knew, and that's one of my big cons against this movie. That the movie was very predictable from start to finish. Is one's a prequel, so sure Steve Trevor's back, but we know in Justice League time she's like, I knew a man who liked to fly. He's dead. Like that's not the exact line, but I'm just paraphrasing. Like we know this is why I wish it was a sequel, because if he came back we thought maybe he might make it out, because now we're in a whole new world. Maybe they are bringing back Chris Pine's a popular actor. I still love their chemistry is fantastic. Anytime they're together, he was great in this movie. I always say like my top combo couples is like Michael Keaton, Michelle Pfeiffer in Returns, Gwen Stacy and Andrew Garfield, like Spider-Man, The Amazing Ones, Deadpool's relationship, and this is the other one as far as told comic movies you get pretty shitty romances, and this and the first one, that was the best part about was their chemistry, their back and forth. So I appreciate seeing him, and you would think maybe they'll keep him alive because they want that to keep going, but we know he's going to die, so that's gone. We know these other characters aren't going to have a big impact. We know Diana's not going to die, but I knew, okay, he's probably, even before they did the whole renouncing Wish thing, I thought, oh, he's gonna not want this anymore. I thought he was gonna be a good guy and say, you know what, I love you, but I can't take this man's life. It's unfair to take this man's life. He should get to live. No, he just renounces his power so Diana could live. So if Diana was fine, he was just full on fine with fucking this guy over and taking his entire life. So I was hoping like, oh, he's gonna be a good guy and realize I can't do this. Like, it was great to have this time with you. We had a weekend, but it's his time. He gets a life. No, that wasn't it. He was just a piece of shit. He was like, yeah, he was looking out for his lady, but it's like, you still were going to take over this dude's body. I get the initial setup because he didn't choose that, but it is still, and I liked the way they did as far as it was, we first saw him and heard his voice and that transition in the, like, Chris Pine. I really liked that. I thought that was kind of fun and clever. So it shows, okay, the stone has put the spell, so she sees it on him. But yeah, it was an interesting way to bring him back.
She didn't actually see him. She saw the other guy.
Well, no, I thought that because this is the weird thing, because he goes to her. This is the exact same thing. He goes, you look like you haven't aged a day. And she's like, well, you look like you've changed. And I'm like, okay, so she sees the other guy. But then that same scene, she goes, all I see is you, like Steve Trevor. So it's like, what the fuck does she see?
No, she definitely sees the
know.
other guy. That's more of like a, it doesn't matter what he looks like because she's in love with him.
The inside. You think so?
The
I
inside.
took it the other way. That's funny. Okay.
No, because he looked in the mirror. He looked like the other guy.
But he saw that, but then I guess you're right. It could be that way. It was just weird pacing of like.
If anyone's still listening, let us know in the comments if you think that she saw Chris Pine or random engineer dude whose life got taken from him without any second thought or consideration.
I guess I get, like, I put myself in this position of like Emily ended up in someone else's body and she was dead. Like, It's, it still is fucking weird. Actually, I wish they just brought him back. Like, I wish he didn't take over some dude's body. I wish, like, because then she's like, when there's that scene where she's touching his chest and everything, and Chris Pine, like, super toned looking Jack, but it's like, this guy doesn't look like that. Like, that's not his body. So it's like, it was a weird like juxtaposition. Taylor and Kirkland, where were you on this? I'll start with you, Taylor. Where were you? Like, what did she see, and how did you feel overall about Steve Trevor's return as far as this body snatcher scenario?
I would have, body snatchers. I would have preferred it just to be Steve Trevor, just his little light orbs coming around and just like building out his body again, like, and he's just there, like he just manifested. He didn't need to like go full fucking exorcist on this innocent man. Like, it's just weird. So, I don't know, but that's a little bit of a con for me. But like, as far as what she saw and all that, I mean, fuck if I know. Oh my god. Like, that's a whole nother can of worms. So, I mean, maybe when we get to Wonder Woman 3, they'll explain it, hopefully. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
We don't need to go back at that. But it's it's just such a confusing dynamic. And again, like, it's so confusing that it confused me at the end there. Like, it's just like him just with all these like baggy clothes and totally unaware of what happened. So I mean, good for him. Like, but again, like you said, Jessica, like that scene there, as soon as like Diana walks off, you could have the FBI pull over and you like eating fucking pavement and put him down. Like, you stealing government planes.
Wow.
Like,
You know what
just, like,
cop? We know what
You're
Taylor's
like
cop
eating-
lingo would have been if he became a cop. You like eating fucking pavement? Like what? Like, you don't even say put your hands up first. Taylor just goes right to, you like eating fucking pavement,
1
you
to 100.
criminal. What about you, Kirkland? What did you take from how did you feel about Steve Trevor's coming back? Because in the trailers, they never showed us this like other dude. We just assumed he's
Yeah.
back. But so that was like fun not to know, but it was, like I said, a little weird. And then what did you think she saw? Or are you kind of like Taylor, it's like you have no fucking idea?
Well, ever since he was first like shown in that first trailer where they had him, I was pretty disappointed that they had that reveal. Again, it is a big name, so obviously it'd be hard to hide him,
Yeah.
especially for promoting wise. And I mean, if COVID wasn't around, he'd be, going around everywhere promoting the movie and stuff. So it'd be pretty obvious. But like for me, in a perfect world, I would have just wished to not even know that he was in this movie until the movie happened, and then be like, holy shit, I can't believe he's back. Like, totally thought he died. Like that would have been a crazy moment. I understand that's not
Especially,
possible all the time.
he's not in it that much either. Like, he's in it for the
Yeah.
second, like at the beginning, he's not there. He's in the middle, and then he disappears for the entire third act. So they could have, I guess it would have been tough because it's like, look at Spider-Man. We all know Toby and Andrew are going to be in it, and they're trying
Yeah.
to hide that, right? So they probably couldn't have hid it, but you could have had that question of like, is he in it? We don't know for sure,
Yeah.
but I also think that was the only thing in the trailers they had to show because, like I said, what else was the fucking story in this? So they wanted everyone to go in the movie asking, how is Steve Trevor back?
Yeah, no, definitely. And I mean, how he was back was, I had issues with the whole wishing thing from the get-go, so that didn't help, definitely. But overall, go ahead, Taylor. Geek
Oh
First
no,
Podcast.
I just put my hand up so people are aware. Like,
That was an urgent hand. It went up fast.
You put your hand up just to put your hand up?
No, I raised my
No,
hand digitally. I did the thing.
No, but why
wants
did
to
you
go
do that? You have a
next?
point?
I,
Okay, you wanna go next,
I
okay.
have something after Kirkland's done.
I thought you said you were just like testing out the button. It's like, no, sir, that button is
No,
for
why
when
would
you
I
want to
do
go.
that? It's
You
emergency button.
clearly, I've been like, hey Taylor, can you adjust your gain privately? And then you go on the microphone. You want me to adjust my gain, Travis? Right on the
Yeah,
like
but I
while
mean,
we're
this is
recording.
like this is a button thing. Like, I'm not gonna test 911. Be like, hey, just testing. Like, emergencies.
You were that kid. I guarantee you were that
I
kid.
apologize that I drew attention to it, but yeah. So the whole wishing thing, I had issues with. So him coming back that way, as well as the body snatcher, it didn't hit me like originally that it was just a body snatcher situation, but like as the movie was progressing, I'm like, what is happening with this guy? Like, is he gonna get his life back? Like, poor man. But and then getting back to Diana, what she saw, I really took it as she just saw Steve. I don't know if I'm right. I don't know if I'm wrong. That's just kind of what I was going with. I don't know. I don't have much to back it other than the fact that when she's calling him, she's not like, hey, you, it's Steve. So like, I don't know. Like, my mind would think that her mind would just be seeing Steve. Again, I don't know if it's that thing that she just knows that he's there. So that's what her mind is kind of playing tricks with her on. I don't know. Her eyes are playing tricks on her, but I like now that we're talking about it though, I don't know strongly for or against, so I'm a little confused.
So I got a good question to answer from one of our viewers in the chat, and I'm going to ask it right after this ad break. So Nathan, who hosts Star Wars Alliance over our podcast network, go check that out. Him and Kay do some great stuff over there, and he has a Patreon stuff coming out too soon for the Geek Ultimate Alliance. He asked, so if this dude dies, what would happen to Steve Trevor? Would he go into another? First of all, it would just fucking suck for that guy because he died for not like it's like he didn't do any of this. But what would happen? Would Steve Trevor go into another person's body, or would he stay there? My impression, Nathan, I think he would just die again, in my opinion. But this is why I also wish they just made him. He came back as just Steve Trevor. He didn't take. I think there was like some fun comedic bit of like he's living in this guy's house, he's cleaning up, why is there so much cheese? But really that wasn't worth the whole, because in the middle your mind's doing loops of like, so how did he and where is he and stuff like that. So I would assume he just dies, but I can't tell you that for sure because they didn't tell me. So I don't know. Do you guys have any take on that?
He's dead.
I would surmise the same thing. I figured if they want him to bring him back again after he dies, you'd have to make another wish. That's what I would.
But also, like, what happens to the guy whose soul should be in that body?
Oh,
he's just dead.
He's gone. Yeah.
Yeah, he's in heaven.
He's with the Red Skull.
Diana
universe
Prince,
crossover,
daughter of
yeah.
Hippolyta. What about you, Taylor? You have any theories on what would happen to the guy if he died?
I said he's dead. Like
Okay, he's dead.
Yeah, he's just dead.
That sucks.
He is, yeah. He's in with Hades in the underworld.
Wow, he's going to hell. That sucks.
Oh,
so,
yeah, he's going straight there.
oh,
Taylor
Taylor,
Field.
you
first
have a new
podcast.
point. Yes.
Yeah. So, like two things. I just think it's interesting because that one actor is like he gets casted. Hey, we're gonna cast you in Wonder Woman 2 as agent. He's like, oh, that's so cool. He's like, yeah, you're gonna play this character where you get taken over by.
You're gonna be
Pine.
on screen with Gal Gadot.
Yeah, you're gonna be on screen.
He
with Gal Gadot.
was.
You're gonna be taken over by Chris Pine. He's like, oh, so I'd be like, I have to pretend to be like Chris Pine. Like, no, like you're gonna be replaced by him. Like, just totally get shafted. But
I guarantee you they would have told him before. There's no way he's going like like he would have had to know a little bit because that is a shafting.
And my other point, and again, this is just I found it really, really odd because like at one moment, I don't know where Wonder Woman and Steve Trevor were, like what part of the world, but it was like the desert dunes and stuff like that. The walls just popped up around that city because I can't remember the name of the city though.
Egypt.
Well, oh, it was Egypt. Okay, like Cairo. Yeah. So when that happened. And then she's like on the phone talking to Kristen Wiig and is like, yeah, go there to the mine guy and we'll meet you there. And then the scene skips and they're there. Like we spent a full like 10 minutes of them getting there to Cairo. And now they just skip them coming back.
It was like the season finale of Game of Thrones when every season before it would take them like 6 episodes to get somewhere, but in the finale it's like it took 2 minutes. Like we're here,
Everyone
Jon
fast
Snow.
traveled. Yeah.
Yeah, the fast travel option. I do want to shout out one thing because I think we've been shitting on it a little bit, and that's fine. That's what we do in movie reviews. We tell the truth, but I will say my favorite moment of the movie is their goodbye scene because Gal Gadot fucking crushed that acting wise, and that's why I'm talking about when she has to say goodbye again, and she has that moment where she's starting to do the super power run, and she's like crying. Like there's times in movies, and this is where I brought up the first time where it's like, oh, this person's crying. This looks like fuck, she's super upset. Like it looks like it broke her again, and that's where I almost felt it was redemption for the first movie for me because that moment didn't hit because it was emotional and with the Gal Gadot, and I just don't think you're there yet. But this movie, I loved it when she's just running and she's just fucking bawling, and it just looks like she's just like, she even said like, I just want something for me. And again, this realization, like I have nothing. Again, I get the shit in the stick, and it just seemed like she was pissed. And obviously she didn't go in there and start massacring people, but I just really loved that moment. That's what really got me to like, oh man, Gal Gadot can bring it now. And I love that scene of saying goodbye. I think he was great in it. I love that when he's saying like, I'll never forget you, and then as he's talking, it's transitioning back into that guy's voice. It's just like, oh, it was very well done. I like that. Again, I don't know the point of bringing Steve Trevor back as far as the overall movie. I don't think it was needed. Like, oh, we got double hands here, but Geek versus double fisting on the video version. But so I don't know at the end of the day when we watch the whole movie if Chris Pine coming back was necessary, but there was some fun. I liked him doing his fish out of water of like, this is art, and oh, that's a trash can, you know, like the outfits. I think again, they all have good chemistry. They just good stuff. So as always, ladies go first. Jessica, you had your hand up. What do you want to say?
I just want to add in, this isn't a big point, but in that run too, watching all her wounds like heal, like all the bullet wounds just like slowly disappear too, kind of added to it, showing that he was disappearing because she was getting her powers back.
Yeah, it was good. It was very like Pixar, like Bing Bong-ish. You know, like Inside Out. I thought it was very well done. You know.
Bing Bong-ish.
Well, remember when he's like when he's helping? Remember Bing Bong, the invisible friend in Inside Out? What the fuck is wrong with you people? Inside Out was a classic. Well, that's fine, Kirkland. But these two have seen it, right? And like he's trying to help.
I know who Bing Bong is.
Yeah, he's trying to help Riley, the kid, remember. So in order to like get this kid to remember and feel better about herself, he has to disappear and kind of like kill himself. Like it was that type of moment. It was great, but whatever. I'm alone on this island. Anything else to shout out?
I had
on
my
Steve?
hand up.
Oh,
Actually.
sorry,
Kirkland
Kirkland
raised his
Patrick,
hand many
Geekers podcast.
So getting to your point, hold on. But before I go more negative, let's go more positive. So I'll double up what you guys said on that scene. I thought that was absolutely phenomenal. I love the way that they like killed him off to a sense. How you don't really see him like fade away or anything. She just like kind of leaves him and runs. All the details that you guys mentioned with the wounds healing and everything, and how his voice was changing, everything about that was really, really awesome. Plus, there's just like World War III going on in the background. It was really good. I really, really like that scene, and definitely it'll get definitely a plus for that scene that they did there. Wonderful acting from the gal. She was amazing. But getting to more negative, how you mentioned, like, did we really need Steve for this entire movie? Like, and you said that you liked his fish out of water stuff, but like that was literally taken out of the trailer. So like I felt like all those moments I've already seen like literally years ago, like by now, because this movie's been pushed back so many times. So like that stuff was fun, but it would have been fun, like more fun for me at least, if I didn't see those trailers. If I was seeing it for the first time in this, like it would have been like actually me chuckling instead of just being like, oh, I remember that. I remember seeing that a year and a half ago when I saw that in theaters. And so that I felt like wasn't really necessary having that character back, although we did get that really emotional scene that was nice. But what was like the point of having this in 1984? And like what was the significance there? It's just like we're just at like a timestamp in her life. Like, is that why? Like we're not quite at the end. We're not quite in the time frame of BVS, but
well, because there is this thing, and like, okay, so if you don't follow the news as far as Justice League and the Snyder Cut and all this stuff, it might be a minor spoiler, but in this movie, it's like a what if scenario. If you don't know about the nightmare scenes are kind of like in what could happen in Justice League. It's in BVS of like what happens if the good guys lost. And it's like Lois Lane dies and Superman becomes evil and all this stuff. And in this scenario, Wonder Woman is dead at that current time. So I wonder if, because this was done, the sequel was in production after Justice League, and I'm not sure. Maybe they could have. She was writing it, but my idea was maybe they didn't want to do present day because they weren't sure where she was going in the real continuity when they were doing like the actual like, oh, this is post BVS, post Justice League. So maybe like, we'll put it in the past. That's safer. You're not going to screw anything up, right? It's just another chapter. I think that's it, and I think it's also just that, unfortunately, probably when this time was production being in the 80s was hot again, like Stranger Things, stuff like that, which I think they did well enough, but I don't think the movie like dripped 80s. I don't think it was like, man, this really feels like the 80s. It's not like Stranger Things where it's like there's a fine line between like this feels gimmicky and cheesy to real. You want to feel like, oh, this is the 80s, but it still feels like a world. This just kind of felt like it had an 80s backdrop. It's kind of the same as Captain Marvel. I love Captain Marvel, the movie, but I don't think it really utilized the 90s as much as it could have. It showed a blockbuster. It played some Nine Inch Nails great, but, you know, everyone's taking off their tops in this cast. Taylor's next, but Kirkland, you got your hand up.
Yeah, so I guess the things that really stood out as to be 80s for me was the end credit scene, because wasn't the original, like, with that actress, sorry. Yeah,
yes.
Wasn't she in the 80s? Like, wasn't that when that TV show was on?
Yeah, but she's playing a new character now, so you don't need that in the present day. If people don't know, the girl that they was in the eagle armor, and then at the end they reveal she played the original Wonder Woman in the TV show, which I thought was stupid because they were like, we didn't show the end credit scene to the critics because we don't want to spoil anything. You see her fucking face in the movie, so obviously, like, I don't think Jessica, you know, but if there's any major DC fans who know who Linda Carter is, you see her face and you go, oh, that's Linda Carter. So at the end when it was this big reveal, it's like, wasn't a big reveal to me, at least,
I
because
think
it's
it
like
was a reveal because it's like confirming that Asteria's still alive and that she's gonna come back in the future somehow. I think that's a reveal.
Yeah, I guess it's just that it was. I know what I wish then they didn't show her Asteria's face in
Mm.
the movie. I think that would have been more impactful. Of like, okay, that's Asteria, and then when she turns, it's like, fuck, that's Linda Carter. That's awesome. Where in the movie, I did that. I was like, oh fuck, that's awesome. That's
Are
Linda
you
Carter.
saying
So
you
when
recognized Linda Carter earlier?
yes,
I didn't
with
recognize
their
her at
eyes,
all.
yeah, with their eyes, but
Oh.
just because I've still like she's been talked a lot. There's been rumors she's gonna be in Flashpoint. Like I know what she looks like currently. So when I saw that, I was like, okay, that's Linda Carter. So I just wish you didn't even need to show her eyes in the movie. You could have just shown her beating up those guys. But it's fine. You bring up a good point. That yeah, true. It confirms the character. It goes on. I still don't think that was big of a spoiler. I thought it was gonna be like a big Wonder Woman 3 thing or like something more DC universe created. But like you said, it is Wonder Woman 3 as far as okay, there's a character. She could come back. So that's fine. All right.
Yeah. So, and then my other '80s feeling thing was kind of what I think it was fairly early into the movie when she's kicking ass in that mall. I mean, we see a lot of people dressed in like '80s attire, and there were some '80s stores and stuff like that, and just like the music that was going with it, and the way that she was fighting these guys, it felt very like over the top comic booky cartoony type, like I don't know, combat, and I actually really appreciated that. I thought that was fun. I thought that was, I don't know, like they're doing credit to like maybe cartoons, or sorry, like superhero cartoons from like the 80s, and that's kind of what I felt like. I don't know if that's what they're going for, but that's the way I took it. And
I think so, yeah.
yeah, so I was pretty into it there, but I felt like that was kind of just in the first half of the movie, and then after that they just kind of didn't really care too much about the 80s, or I don't know. I felt like it should have been more of a center point for this movie, considering the title's Wonder Woman 84, as opposed to just having some fun 80s music, you know, in their trailers or in the intro. So
Those goons
more potential
at the beginning, like I don't know what his plan was to dangle that kid. His one bargaining chip, and he's just
Oh my
literally
God,
gonna let
yeah.
the kid die. Like, and his goons are saying, "Don't do it. What are you doing?" Like, fucking
Yeah.
horrible criminals.
Horrible criminals. They're terrible. And it's like, if that was, you know, if I was robbing a bank with Taylor and you just grabbed a kid and you're hanging him over the railing, like, I'm sorry, I'm running. I'm leaving you there. Like, I'm not going to just be like, Taylor, no, we can put an end to this. We'll get
The
out of
jig
here.
is up because you're going to
Yeah.
drop the kid and you're all standing there and everything like that. And before I throw to Jessica, the other movie, which I completely agree with, I was talking to somebody earlier, and this is what I was thinking about watching it. It feels a lot like at times Sam Raimi's Spider-Man with that level of cheese. I like that because I feel like this, I think my problem with this is they are going for that level of cheese, but then sometimes they got super serious. And I think that's the thing where Spider-Man Raimi does that sometimes, it's super serious, but overall it's pretty fantastical and cheesy. That's why I love Aquaman, because from start to finish, it's just like, we're a fucking cheesy's 80 action movie, and we're not going to get that in deep. Where this is at time trying to get deep, and that's where I think it hurt each other. But Jessica, you were going to say something?
Yeah, so just to throw on to like the 80s moments, when Steve was playing dress up and he's got like the parachute pants on and the colorful jacket,
Yeah.
that was a good moment as well. But I definitely agree that I don't think this movie really, I don't know, there's so much good music from the 80s and fun outfits. I think there's a ton more they could have done with this. I love the 80s. I think it's a great decade. But throwing back to that beginning mall scene, and this kind of goes for some of the stuff in Cairo as well with her. Every scene that they have her flying around with her lasso looked so terrible in this movie. That
That's been a
entire mall
big
scene,
Yeah.
I was just like, this is so painful. This looks so fake. And I don't know. Maybe I'm the only one on this, but even when she comes out of the water from like fighting Cheetah, and then she goes to land, and
Mhm.
like it's just like, I don't know. It was the most awkward kind of landing. I just thought they did such a bad job with her flying when she went to like pick up the kids with the whip and her flying through the air with the kids and how she like sideswipes them. Any type of animation where she was flying with her whip, I cringed in this movie.
Wow. Okay, go ahead, Kirkland.
Raise your hand next time, Travis. So
Yep.
you get this podcast.
I learned. I was right. You're right. You beat me to it. Duck, duck, goose.
So yeah, honestly I'll double up on that because originally when they showed her swinging off of like the lightning, I think it was in one of the trailers. It was like the ending of the trailer was her like swinging that way. I was like, oh my god, that's so awesome! I love this. Like I wait for this movie. Again, that was like over a year ago now, so the hype level was at its max. But yeah, in this when she was like using it on the clouds and stuff, I would agree. I thought like. Maybe I'm spoiled, playing PS4 Spider-Man and just seeing how beautiful swinging looks. But I thought this looked pretty bad. Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe if they just did it at nighttime, maybe it would have looked better. Kind of like how they're hiding Cheetah. Maybe hide some bad swinging animation in the nighttime. But also like tying in with the swinging. And I'm not saying the flying looked terrible, but how was she able to fly in the first place? Like I just didn't understand that because I'm like, at first I'm like, okay, she's
It's
just
like you
gliding
said,
after her
it's
swings, but then she just
wind
puts it
and-
away and she just like wings out.
Well, that's how Steve says it's wind and air and just
Well, okay.
Didn't like it.
So that's one thing.
Put your
I
hand
have
down, sir.
Yeah, I'll put it down now. There's a lot of things now I have to bring up, so it's tough. So the flying and the like lasso thing has definitely been like something that's kind of memed on Twitter. I am very much Switzerland in this situation. Do I think it's all amazing? No. Do I hate it? Not really. Like I don't think I know there's some people in the YouTube chat like she didn't need to fly. Like I'm fine with her flying. She flies in the comics. I know some people have said that she doesn't fly in the Zack Snyder movies, which is kind of true. But then you have people being like, look at this clip from BVS. Look at the way she lands. She's clearly flying. I do not want to spend my days on Twitter arguing if she can fucking fly in BVS or not. Zack Snyder said she can fly. You can look at his Vero. He says she flies. We just didn't see it. The way she was flying, not great. And the way they set up, like every time, like I swear we had like 3 different scenes to show like she really misses Steve Trevor, guys. Did you guys know she lost the money? She really misses that. And I was like, fuck. And then like when she looks at him and she's like, your power. He's like, I don't have power. He's like, your flight. Flight is your power. It's like, oh, she's gonna fucking fly in this movie. And I didn't have a problem with her flying, but I hated the setup of just like them talking about it. It's just like I guess you have to set that up because Steve Trevor's gonna be like, it's about the wind in the air, like Taylor. It worked for Taylor, but it just felt very like, okay. I was like, yeah, subtle, nice, okay.
I
So
didn't. Well, I
this
didn't
movie-
say it worked for me. Like
Okay,
my problem is that like I love the invisible jet sequence. I thought that was fantastic. I love that so much.
I couldn't believe they actually did it.
I thought
Yeah,
I loved
I was
the
surprised.
like the backstory to it, like how she's saying like I was practicing, like and all that. It's just so cool. I love that so much. I just think it was like, well, the fuck does she need her invisible jet for anymore? Like she's just gliding around. So
Well,
Yeah.
and Nathan also brought up she gets the golden armor too, so it's like that also helps her fly. So it's
she
like,
lost
why did
her
you?
wings though?
Well, she did.
Yeah.
Yeah, this bird was baked, but no, it was just like it's tough because people go like I said, oh well, she could fly, but it's like I don't know. I also listened to 2 years for people telling me like, oh, the line in BVS when it says she walked away from mankind, that didn't. This movie's not going to be about her helping mankind. It's like her going against gods. No, she's saving people left, right, and center. That was a stupid line I talked about today on Twitter. Even Gal Gadot was like, yeah, we make mistakes in movies, and we really shouldn't have said that because that was so dumb to say she walked away. And I don't care if she destroys a fucking camera. She saved some woman at a wedding. Remember that weird cut where all randomly there's a woman in a wedding dress like falling and she saves her. What the fuck is Diana doing? Just walking around at weddings saving people if she's not away from
Well,
mankind.
it was all like
so
sequence, right? Because she saved like some. Didn't she save some kids and then like some person?
she
like,
did
bumped the
because I feel
bride
like
and
that's
knocked her
them being.
over?
That's them covering their asses because so many people are like in Zack Snyder's like, I have problems with Zack Snyder's movies, but they're like, Henry Cavill Superman sure doesn't save a lot of people. But then in BVS, there's like a 5-minute montage of like he's fucking tugging a boat around. It's like he's clearly saving people. Like it's just because he's not smiling, sure. But it's just like, and now people are doing this revisionist history of like, well, walking away from mankind means that she just wasn't taking credit for her work or heroism. Fuck off! Like that was not the intention of the line.
that
It was a
her
stupid
words?
line.
I can't remember. Like, did she
Yeah,
say?
she says that to Bruce.
Okay.
She says she walked away from mankind a century ago. So it's supposed to be like after Wonder Woman, we never see her again until BVS. And because people brought up and like, well, she was carrying her suit around in BVS, so clearly she was being a hero. No, even if she wasn't being a hero, I don't think she's just gonna take her Amazonian soon as you like fucking throw in the trash, be like, I'm out. Like she's gonna still wear it for protection. It's just like some of the stupid stuff that's been argued about. But back to I don't even know where we were going. We were talking about the flying and oh yeah, I thought that was all fine. Oh, this is what I brought up. Jessica with the action. Yeah, I agree that the action was kind of mediocre. That's what I missed in the first movie. The action scenes fucking rocked. The finale, not the greatest, but like the No Man's Land scene where she walks in the war zone and she's going to the bullets and she goes in the village and she's kicking ass. Like there's some really, really good the stuff in Themyscira. This movie doesn't have any of that. Like the action, I don't think I'm as harsh on you, Jessica, but it definitely didn't stick out. It didn't get me enthralled. I also think it's because she's just, until Cheetah, she's fighting just very minor characters that she can just throw around. But then the Cheetah fight didn't really live up to expectations. So Taylor Phil from Geek Podcast.
I have to. I counter that. Like the Cheetah fight was definitely lackluster. I will admit there, but I think all the other fight sequences were fantastic. I love that one in Egypt when she's going down the road with the trucks and everything. I thought that was so cool when she's got the truck sideways and she's sprinting and pushing it down and using it as like cover. And Steve Trevor was coming up in up the rear with his like little truck or car or whatever. Like I thought that was fantastic. Her jumping over all the vehicles and sliding underneath them. Oh, it was so good. And her like between both of them and like she was pushing the one back. And then Steve Trevor wedges his tank in there. Like it was just so cool to see all that. I was like, yes, some action tanks.
There's so many like there were so many like euphemisms.
Yes.
There were so many euphemisms that could have been like, and Steve Trevor comes up from the rear and then he slams his tank into her. And like you're just saying so much stuff where it's like, man, you sound like you're describing the Wonder Woman 1984 like XXX version. But no, I'll agree. Like I liked that scene, but I feel like in 2 weeks from now, I'm not going to be remembering it. Not like that. And it's tough, right? Because that Wonder Woman's No Man's Land scene, that was like the scene in Wonder Woman. But like I said, I still point out like the bell tower scene. I still think about the Themyscira scene. I don't know in 2 weeks if I'm going to be talking about like the highway scene with her and Chris. You know, it was fun, but it didn't stick with me the same way of like Birds of Prey when Harley Quinn breaks into that police shop and she's like taking out all the cops with her gun.
That's good. That was real good.
Yeah, like to me, I'm not trying to make a comparison because Taylor hates when I compare things, but it's like Wonder Woman should have better action than Birds of Prey, in my opinion. Not because Birds of Prey is crap characters, just like they are humans. Wonder Woman, you're dealing with Matrix godlike heroes, and that's where it's like to me, Harley Quinn breaking in the cop shop stands out to me more than any of the scenes in this. Yes, I've seen Birds of Prey since February a few times. It's my favorite DCU movie, so I get it. But it's just like I remember seeing that like this is tons of fun, this is colorful, this is something new. Where this was like, okay, we're doing some vehicle stuff. Like it's memorable a little bit because she got shot, and I was like, okay, she's getting hurt. But I thought the cheetah fight was going to be that scene, and it wasn't. So.
Taylor Christian Bale over there reminded me
of. Where else? We didn't answer. Is what do we think about Maxwell Lord? We we talked about that. We try to just mix with classic Geek first of all the blenders. So, like I said before, I liked that they gave him the son. They could have done better with him, but I honestly just loved Pedro just hamming it up. He was just like, I love when he met Kristen Wiig. He's very charismatic and like, who is this guy? Your dreams can come true. Like the classic, like cheesy salesman. Like I really like that. And he didn't feel too one-dimensional. At times he did, but I like that even when he was doing this stuff, it was always still for his son, and he felt like he was really losing it. And it wasn't just pure evil, but eventually he did just kind of get to like, I'm just going to be evil and take over. I want all the power. It's mine. But the thing is, I think Pedro, as far as acting wise, nothing was wrong. I think he killed it. I think any problems I have with that character is pure script, but Pedro Pascal's one of the best out there right now. And I love seeing I think I really like the beginning stuff as Maxwell Lord. Like he even came off like he could be a great Bond villain one day, Kirklin. Like I love like how suave he was with her and like making out with her to get the stone, and it was really good stuff. But
I feel like Jessica's got her hand up. I'll put my hand up next.
Before Jessica goes, I'm gonna throw to her into that break, which is gonna happen right now. Jessica, go.
So I'm just wondering if you kind of feel like him at all. Like your kids are like, Daddy, we want to spend more time with you, and he's like, but first I got to start this podcast network. I'm gonna be great. I'm gonna start 3 new shows.
No, some shade thrown at Travis there.
Well, no. I've said that on like that's what like even Marvel Alliance I do with Chris. That's the only show right now I'm doing this like at this time because we are the holiday, so I'm spending a lot of time with them. But that's why most time now my podcast has to be after 8 because that's bedtime, so that I can hang out with them. But that's a big, that's why movies like that I see that and I go, I don't want to be that guy, So that's why I'm a big. People give me shit for being such a planner, but that's why I plan because I literally plan my day hour by hour. So like, hey, this is my time with the kids, this is that. But yeah, that's the version of what could happen if you're bad. But luckily, you watch that or watch Soul, and that shows you that like you got to take appreciation of the little things, you know.
So-
I haven't watched that yet. Don't spoil that.
Spoilers.
but it's great. The Maxwell Lord
Oh, he
comes in
ruined
there.
it.
He's like the power. No, the Soul guy's swinging all over, even though he can fly. But Kirkland, you had a question.
Well, just you mentioning him possibly being a Bond villain. Like, I feel like I never would have seen him being a villain character except for this movie, and he did it so well. Definitely, like the really charismatic type villain. Almost reminds me of like Lex Luthor or something. Like like seems friendly. It's like, oh, I don't think this guy's bad at all. Like maybe he's got some tricks up his sleeves. Yeah, he looks like a, I don't know, maybe shady like businessman or something like that, right? But no, he was phenomenal. I thought his acting was stellar. I definitely saw more potential than what they did with the son. I felt like they really could have humanized that character really well, but I mean, they tried to do that at the end when he just randomly found his son, outside. That was pretty good coincidence there, but
And they also had
it-
those good flashbacks of like I did like them showing his childhood and how his dad just completed him like complete garbage, and that kind of showed because it wasn't almost about the power. He just wanted to be so powerful so he could make his son proud, and then his son tells him like, I'm already proud of you, I love you, you're my father. So I like that. It was very ham-fisted, like very quick, like here, putting these flashbacks of him as a kid, but it got the point across.
And like I feel like the issues I had with the abrupt sort of, I don't know, redemption thing with his son at the end, like it was just very quick, very abrupt, kind of like what most the ending was for this movie. But I felt like there was a big portion too, like sort of maybe at the end of the first part. I don't know, but I felt like I was kind of intrigued on where we were gonna go with him. Now that he was the Wishing Stone, I'm like, okay, what is he gonna get now? Like, what's his goal? And I was pretty intrigued there, but then once it got to like that end, he's like, oh, I can just get wishes to everyone, and like the rays will be touching them. Oh, okay, awesome. And I'm like, oh, okay, let's see how this goes.
It could have been, and before you go to that, all I'll say is like it could have been so much on a smaller scale. That's what I was kind of hoping, and that's what I liked. I thought it was going to be that, especially because Patty before talked about the first film. She hates the ending, or didn't hate. She doesn't like it because the studio said, well, the final boss battle needs to be bigger, it needs to be grander, and she didn't want that. She wanted more personal. So I thought, oh, they were going to do that with this movie, and it started that way of just like him paying back his business partner, stuff like that. But then it did get to like the president and all this. I wish it would have just been like, yeah, he's taking over some guards because he has that power and he's the few obstacles. But when it got so big, it's just like, I'm starting to check out. It's that problem of not every movie has to be about saving the world. And this was that again. It was, there's a ticking time bomb kind of with people wishing things. It's causing another world war. And here we go.
Well, I feel like they also were having issues like balancing between those two, because there was moments of this film that felt very small scale. Like we don't have a giant dark side villain, like she's just fighting kind of like low level crime lords, but then it got to that scale and I felt like it was pretty messy how they were trying to balance on the two. Like I could tell that they didn't want to make it a big world ending villain, but also you have this god character that kind of, she's on the scale of a world ending villain. So I don't know, I felt like it was kind of messy, the execution there.
Well, and even the way she beats him, it's like very low level, right? It's just her talking, and which I appreciate. I don't think it was done the greatest, but like I like that idea. It's kind of like the Doctor Strange I've come to bargain situation where like, okay, he uses his smarts to, figure out the situation.
Use their slither stick together.
Yeah. Taylor, what did you want to say?
A couple things. I thought the flashbacks were very interesting and very good with him, like just like dealing with his father and everything like that. I thought that was really like development-wise very good. I also liked how, again, like in Mandalorian, he's wearing a helmet, of course, but I loved, again, seeing like the differences. He's playing Prince Oberyn in Game of Thrones, but he feels so different in Mandalorian as a character, and then when we see him in Mandalorian, he's so different. And like most characters, they play a role and then you see them as that character, and in this he feels so different, and just I love how he acts. Clean shaven, everything, because he's got like, I always feel like he's got like a Burt Reynolds kind of look to him, kind of.
He does.
So.
Like even think about where you saw him first, Game of Thrones, when he was the Viper, right? That look, but very completely different character. Again, like he's kind of cocky in that show, but not the same way as this type of cocky and arrogant. It's a completely different level. So he's one of those like chameleon actors. Pedro is just, he's so good. He's very underrated.
Mandalorian and Game of Thrones, has he been in anything else? Like I looked through his list and I didn't really
Triple
recognize.
Frontier. Go check out Chaz and I review.
Yeah, Kingsman 2 he was in. Shark Boy.
Shark
Well,
Boy
did
just
you
dropped
know,
today.
Jessica, Shark Boy and Lava Girl have a sequel out right now on Netflix? We Can Be
Yeah,
Heroes.
but there's no Taylor Lautner in it, so I'm not
No,
there.
but he's in it. He's one of the main parents. So,
Yeah,
but
but he's not Taylor Lautner. Come on now.
but no,
Oh.
Team Jacob.
I'd say Mandalorian. And Narcos. He's in Narcos as
Yes,
well.
he's so
yeah,
good in
and
that.
Okay.
yeah,
He's
he's
really
great
good
in that. So he's kind of all over, and I think he's kind of ever since Game of Thrones, he's been kind of getting bigger and bigger each year. And yeah, he's a phenomenal talent, and I'll be interested if they ever use him again, but I think it's kind of closed off. I think for his story because he kind of had a good guy redemption, right? So
I
So
did
what
like.
happened?
I started.
Oh,
I'm going.
oh,
I did
oh.
like how as he kind of got more and more wishes kind of going though too. Even though like his health was supposed to be declining, they did it in such a visual way. Like his eyes were starting to get all bloodshot, and his veins are starting to pop out, and
hair
you know,
messy.
so
Kirklin, you motherfucker.
Keep
will
lowering
bring-
I
Taylor's
see
hand.
what you're doing.
Sorry.
well. Anyway, I thought that was a really cool visual to just kind of see. The eyes were the favorite for me. How they kind of had like the bloodshot to them, and they seemed really dark and
Just
But,
blood seeping out.
yeah. Anyway, I see Taylor's got his hand raised here, so
Kirkland's playing mind games with me.
Respect the hand.
Yeah, my other point I wanted to toss out was I thought, again, I always go back to Cairo because I just kind of love that sequence. But the one thing that's kind of weird, like I get that he was there because he wanted the oil, and he took that from the main dude, leader guy there, and
He didn't even get his oil though.
well, he said like
No,
in return,
they're
like I
out.
get your oil, and he's like, yeah, I sold it to someone else, like we're all out or whatever, and so
The
that kind of
Saudis.
backfired. But he like it was just kind of weird seeing like this leader guy for like 5 minutes like chase after him and like run up and smack into his car as they're driving away, like just kind of seemed really weird. And then the other thing too, I thought was, and I get this was only for a movie, but like if I was a president and you have one wish and his wish is like war, we need nukes and everything, it's like what the fuck is wrong with you? You could have wished for peace and shit. War and nukes, more
The
nukes
80s,
than
man.
the enemy.
World
Like,
peace,
war.
baby.
fuck, what a fucking bad president.
once again though, you got to think like how many people actually just believe it. Like the chick in the restaurant, she's like, I wish I was famous. You know,
Well,
People
the
don't
president
She
believed
big
it.
regretted that instantly.
The president
Yeah.
believed it. He had the look on his face, like what he was gonna get was like the real deal. Like, oh, it's war. Like, yeah, we're gonna get war. Pedro was bleeding from his eyes. He just let him into the Oval Office. Like,
Yeah, not a good call. Right, like crack security team right there, you know. Yeah, and I thought it was a little convoluted too how they could wish for something, and then immediately he like says what he wants, and it's like I guess because he's like the control of the wish, he like puts a spin on it or he gets something in return. But it was like, all right, I guess
Yeah.
it's just I don't know.
How-
Not.
sorry.
Go ahead.
How did you feel? And this is for all you guys. How did you feel about the fact that after him going full villain mode, there was still a team willing to take a helicopter with him and drop him off back at the White House to find his son? I found that to be.
Well,
really
we don't know how he
interesting.
got there, right?
Well, he
I
was
guess
running away from the helicopter because the helicopter took him back. Maybe he flew
Oh.
himself. I assumed a team just
And
took him there
He renounced.
after he renounced. Yeah.
Well, yeah, maybe he knows how to fly, so that's how he got there, you know. But yeah, it just. But at the end of the day, too, I don't know how much do they even have memory of this because when the president renounced his wish, it looked like I don't even know if they had. Well, I guess Diana had memories
how
of it.
did they
so
land in the exact field where his son was anyway? Like,
destiny.
Find my iPhone.
Just ballpark
He had
them.
that turned on for
find
his,
my
his son.
iPhone.
Yeah. So he found his son. I don't know. There's a lot of eye rolly like resolutions I found to be in this film. So
Just a
it
few.
really needed to be kind of shifted half an hour. Things needed to kind of start 20 minutes sooner and give 20 minutes at the
I thought
end.
you
Well-
meant the whole film had to be half an hour. I'm like, that's a bit much, Jessica. They can't
Well-
charge us $30 for half an hour now.
it's interesting because like looking back as to what scenes I would either like lengthen because like her getting the armor, it seemed pretty abrupt, or some other things happening was just really abrupt. But then there are scenes in the beginning where she was like, oh, are you expecting someone? She's like out for dinner by himself. No, just myself. And then she's just kind of wandering out at night, and then she gets her cab. She's like calling the cab. The guy's like, oh, sorry. Like, you want to share? No.
I'm
And
alone.
then cut scene to the next. It's like, what? Like, what was that? Like, I get it.
Well,
She's
and
alone.
then it
That's her
cuts a
giving
scene
up
like-
on humanity.
Like,
Yeah, and then-
really? Like, we wanted to keep that scene and not something that actually is important, like her getting the armor or some other,
Kirkland, you had
maybe-
to know that she's alone now. She's not finding love with it. She'll
I
never
knew
love
this.
again.
I saw Wonder Woman 1.
I know. And then they have to like zoom in on the watch for 2 minutes. It's like, we get it. He's coming back. She misses him. Like, fuck off. Like, yeah. No,
well,
I agree
even
with
with
you.
the armor too. Like my mom woke up at one point. She's like, "Oh, what's happening right now?" And I'm like, "Oh, she's chasing after Maxwell. She's flying to this bunker in Egypt." And then all of a sudden, she's at the armor, and I'm like, "Oh, never mind. No idea what's going on."
Did she pass back out or did she leave the room?
Yeah, she fell back to sleep.
She
Oh.
faded out and then
The
came
armor,
back
the armor
with
didn't hook her
Pedro and
back
his
in.
son. It's like, oh, they found each
Bobby
other.
Star. Yeah.
But when we started this cast, she was sitting here and she goes, we were talking about the wishes, and she's like, he came back because the son wished that he would come back. And I had myself muted. I'm like, that's not what happened, Mom. I'm not saying that.
It's got some substance. I like that theory.
Well, is there anything else we haven't shown that we want to talk about specifically? We've talked about everybody as far as Wonder Woman, Cheetah, Maxwell, Steve. One thing I will say is a little fun prequel thing is at the beginning when they're showing Diana's house. I'm not sure if you guys remember, but Steve's assistant in the first Wonder Woman was like this little like English lady. They showed a picture of her with her as like an old woman. So I thought that was
that's
fun,
cool.
like showing like,
I missed
okay,
that
she
detail.
kept in touch with some of these characters, but now it's like the Benjamin Button thing where they're kind of dying out on them or stuff like that. And you are. So I like that, showing that like kind of Logan immortality thing. That's the other thing is, excuse me, another like trope it hit was like we saw this in the Wolverine as far as there's a point in the Wolverine where Logan starts to lose his powers. He can't heal anymore. He's weakened. And it's just like, that was the exact same thing as this is when she's losing her powers. She's weakened. She's looking really disheveled. And I think that's
Did you
That's
say
the-
disheveled?
disheveled. Yeah, it's a thing. Look it up.
That is a word.
Webster's,
Disheveled.
bro. Yeah, you know disheveled, Taylor, but
Right.
you don't know discourse. That's funny. But no, so I think that's the thing. So
know
here's a little.
Taylor's more disheveled.
I'm
than
more
he has
intercourse
discourses
than
with people.
discourse, to be honest.
Hey, that's what he wished for.
Okay, disheveled. I thought you said like disheveled, like a
No, no.
shovel that you use to dig a hole. I
Yeah,
was like,
a shovel. Oh, so what I was gonna say is, and before I throw it to you guys, is so when Spider-Man 3 came out, everyone said that was like the worst comic movie of all time, and it was, but that was only because we had so few of them, and now when you look back, it's like somewhere in the middle. That's the thing with this movie. Like now, when you do just a kind of, oh, this is just a superhero adventure movie, it's gonna, I think, be looked upon a lot harder than a superhero adventure movie 10 years ago because we have so many of them. And whether it's some of the tropes we talked about as bringing Steve Trevor back, as far as the Cheetah like being that loner, her having this healing ability like Logan where he lost it, I think that's a problem of like you got to get experimental, and whether you like it or not, I think that's why Joker was such a hit because that was different. That's why I hope WandaVision will be a hit and that's why the trailers gets all these views. People are excited because like this looks weird, but it looks different, and that's where I think you have to find a way. And I think that's probably like it wasn't different enough, and it did so many of the same tropes. So that's probably one I already knew that I think was, oh, this is going to happen, that would happen. And then there's so many tropes and things that have happened in other comic movies for years that kept happening and happening. And when if you want to do an adventure movie, you've got to be different. I think that was the problem here. It just wasn't different enough. They had some themes, and yeah, it's good to show like, hey, choose being a good person over greed. I get that, and they did that like well enough, but I don't think they hit a home run with it. So that was just my last point as far as like, I just feel they got to be careful. Like other people that watch this movie got to be careful. You got to be different now because now since 2002, which was the start of the boom in the comic book movie after Tobey's Spider-Man, we've seen so many that like Logan, to me, that's why I love Logan. It's this little character piece about he has to get this girl from point A to point B, and his fucking best friend's losing his mind. He's dying. Like it's all character-based stuff. It's not the world's ending, and it's also not stuff we had seen before. Like this really big character piece, and then Joker did that after, but it was about mental health. So that's what you kind of have to do. Same way Black Panther, like it tackled race in a huge way. Yeah, it was a superhero adventure, but it was more about race. So this movie didn't have that, and if it was going for that, it didn't meet it. So I'm not sure who put their hand up, but I'll go Jessica first.
so one thing I do want to throw out that I had a problem with that has no plot points or anything, but it just really bothered me is that they flew the invisible jet through 4th of July fireworks. Like, that just,
Yeah, it didn't
I
make
don't,
any sense.
Shay
Yeah.
did not like that whatsoever.
What's wrong with that?
What? You can't. Okay, so Taylor, if I put you in a plane and we're shooting fireworks and I say drive through those fucking fireworks with your plane, you think that's gonna be safe?
Those are just like bombs going off.
Well, I'm
They're
assuming
literally
that
shooting
Kung Fu Panda?
gunpowder into the
Have
air.
you seen Kung Fu Panda?
I'm
Come on.
assuming
The
that
plane is
no, like,
invisible, but you can't put
no,
the
but
fireworks through the
thing that
pane.
I took it as
Pain.
Shut up.
like the invisibility that she put around wasn't just invisibility, because to me it looked like a force field or like a protection, because when she was driving through, or when the jet was driving through the smoke and everything, it looked like obviously you see the shape go through, but to me I felt like it was just like force fielded or protected from that, just like the mascara would be. I didn't literally just take it as like
In the
But
comic
here-
books,
but-
Travis, is it protected by a force field?
But here's the thing: even in the movie with the mascara, you can go through that and penetrate it, and you could shoot something through that, like the way Steve Trevor, his airplane crashes through the field and then it goes through it. So if someone was there, like when Hippolyta gets shot and killed, or not Hippolyta, it's Rob Wright's character, I forget her name, but I don't take it as it's protected. It's still just invisible. Because if it was protected, how did Steve Trevor get to Themyscira in the first movie?
That's fair. Well, maybe I think Steve's just a fucking good pilot. He's just zigzagging through all those fireworks.
He is a good pilot.
He is. I liked it. He's like, I gotta fly this plane. I can't wait to fly this plane. Like he just said, such a hard on to fly that plane.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, but yeah, that's what I think. I think I with Jessica, it's like I thought it was dumb. Visually, it's cool because you get that cool shot of them looking up and they're in the sky. But it's just, I don't know. And I liked when they went above the clouds and you saw all the fireworks below. Like that was, I think what Kirkland said at the opening. I think there's lots of good like the movie doesn't look bad. Like I think maybe some action, but like shot wise, there's some nice shots and it looks pretty and things like that, and there's good blocking and stuff. But any other gripes you had, Jessica, before you throw to Kirkland?
Yeah, so I will say, I know we slightly touched on it. I enjoyed the beginning, but I don't think the message was the same as in the movie. Like you were saying that you thought it was good about taking shortcuts, but I didn't feel that, like, that bringing Steve back was a shortcut. I don't know. I just didn't feel like those two connected for me.
I think that's what
So-
they're going for, but I can see what you mean as far as it wasn't a well drawn.
They were going for take shortcuts. That was their
No,
message.
she even
don't
said?
take shortcuts.
Don't-
I feel like
Yeah.
I feel like that's definitely what they're going for. Like for me, giving them credit, or like trying to give them credit, I feel like I would put it to she's not just getting over him and like moving on. She's instead of being like I want to find love again, it's like I want Steve Trevor again, even though that wasn't like her exact words. So it's kind of me giving them some like some stretch there, but I don't know. Like if I was trying to defend them, I feel like that's what I would go with. But I would agree with you. I don't think the message was like set clear. I think they could have done better with that.
Yeah, I didn't even connect those two as being until Travis had said it. Like I just thought it was like, oh, okay, we're doing a throwback to when she was a kid to be the start of the movie.
Yeah.
And then Travis said, oh yeah, trying to teach, you can't take shortcuts, and that's the point of later on. And I didn't actually see that at all until you mentioned it. I just thought that was how they were bringing us back into it, was with the young Diana like we had in the last one. So I think that there definitely could have been, if they were trying to make some kind of connection. I didn't see it. I don't know. Maybe Taylor did, and we've got a 2v2, but I didn't think that was a very good connection to make for those two.
Taylor, chime in.
Well, Taylor thought it was to do shortcuts.
No,
so
I
he
thought
was on
that's
a whole.
what
He watched the
no,
movie
no,
a whole
I thought
different
that's
way.
what you were. I thought
Take
that's what you were
shortcuts,
preaching.
Diana.
He was watching the first movie.
I thought that's what you were preaching, but no, honestly, like I didn't get it. Like the shortcuts, like the only time I ever like clearly saw that manifest was at the beginning when she clearly visually takes a shortcut. I didn't see that represented anywhere else in this movie. And even then, what's wrong with taking the shortcut? The only thing that fudged her up with that shortcut is she didn't hit the next icon thing, like the checkpoint. That's the only thing. Otherwise, the shortcut would have been fine.
Because it's stupid. I don't want to say stupid. I just don't think it's well done as far as she lost Steve Trevor, right? And in a sense, her getting Steve Trevor back is taking this shortcut of these wishes, losing her powers. Yeah, she's not Wonder Woman, but it's like, is that really worth it? And I think it's well done. No, I just think that's what they're trying to go for as far as the shortcut is her giving up her powers to be happy. But the thing is, that's life, and you got to deal with what life gives you, right? And instead of her getting back on the horse as a kid and trying to get to the finish line, she took a shortcut, and that made her lose.
Well, she did get back on the horse.
Yeah, she took the shortcut to get to the horse.
but you know what I mean, as far as like get back on the horse, hit the thing. Like she took a shortcut there, right? And that's the same way as like taking a shortcut here would make her lose her life literally, or be at least mortal, kind of like
Well,
the Hercules route.
maybe
So
not. Like she only lost at the beginning because the one lady just fucking yanked her by the neck and pulled her back. But like here, she would have probably
no,
she could have found a
she ran into a
solution.
bush. The lady didn't do anything. She ran in. That's how she got off the horse. She ran into a bush.
Yeah, but then she was about to throw the spear, and the lady grabbed her right at the end there, and that stopped her from winning. In this sense,
Well-
like they could have killed Pedro, and that also would have like stopped the problems from happening, right? Because I took it as there were two solutions: you renounce your wish, or you kill Pedro, and things are like I figured you get to keep your wishes.
Well, that's interesting. Yeah, because I took it as if you kill them, all the wishes would just go away. That's how I took it. I didn't take it you get to keep the wishes.
Yeah, that's what I figured as well too. Because or else, why wouldn't she would have been more inclined to just kill him? Honestly.
Yeah, like it's like I'm sorry, dude, but then at the same time you wouldn't want to though, because when the World War, like when it was going to World War, if you kill him, then the world's like stuck that way, right? So I think when it was small scale, she might kill him, but she probably wouldn't want to kill him because she's Wonder Woman. She's trying to put a good message out there and stuff like no shortcuts, right? No shortcuts. She doesn't want to do
shortcuts.
that. So. Yeah. Jessica, any other points you want to bring up?
I think that's all I had. We've gone through pretty much everything I had really in my notes at some point or another. So might hop in while Kirklin or Taylor mention final things. But overall, we've talked about all of my kind of quarrels with it. Is that the right word?
Kirklin.
Quarrels.
Yep.
Quarrels.
Quarrels.
I think that's the word.
Professor Quarrel.
Going back to what you were talking about, Travis, how I feel like we're almost spoiled to a sense in like all these comic book movies that we're getting nowadays. I felt like if this was the only comic book movie I've gotten, like since I don't know, X-Men, in the like early, like way back then, I feel like I would have been a lot more positive on it. But we do get a lot of superhero movies now, and we do get movies like Logan. We do get movies like Joker, so that have a lot more than just being a comic book movie. So I feel like this, and I feel like because we have those outliers that are just amazing movies, not just comic book movies. When we see something like this, it's like, yeah, it's all right. Like I'm not gonna say it's a bad movie, by no means. There's great acting, there's great sequences, there's a lot of great stuff in there. But I feel like it kind of falls short, whereas those other movies, it really, really stands out. So that's kind of my thought on maybe it'll explain why a lot of people. I haven't really looked online. I don't know what like the overall consensus
It's mixed.
is. Okay, yeah.
I would say
It
like
was
for
65
critical,
on Rotten Tomatoes, I think it
critical,
was.
it's been up and down. Like it started at 90 and stuff been going down. And then as far as it's like audience, like as far as like there's an audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, sure, but as far as like I'd say people online, because I feel like I feel like even the people that like it the most, no one's saying it's as good as the first Wonder Woman, and I think that it's very mixed to the varying degrees of how much you like it. Yeah, that's what I think. I think it's definitely not Wonder Woman 1. I don't think it's like Suicide Squad or BVS where it came out this is vitriol, but you have all these other camps where you have people that just don't like it or like it. You have people that like just Snyder type of DC, so this isn't really for them because it's a bit more like cheesier and doesn't take itself so seriously and stuff like that. Where you have the other side of people that just love that, like someone like a Thor Ragnarok type, like because it does have a bit more cheesier style. So I think it has a lot of camps. I don't know why, and this is what Taylor was referring to in my tweet. I don't know why there is so much discourse to me. To me, it's not like BVS or Joker. BVS, to me, I get why there was discourse because it was like we're taking some classic characters and making some big changes with them, and as maybe tone and stuff like that. And you had the Batman killing thing. Joker was this whole like mental health thing. This to me is just like it's her on an adventure, and you either like it or don't like it. Like that's why it's like with this movie, I have really no interest. I have fun like talking about with you guys, and I'll talk about with the podcast network and stuff like that. But as far as like the like YouTube videos, like the 15 reasons, like I don't need that. Like there's no like I don't think this is a movie that's worth debating, which sounds bad because I think you'd rather make. I think as a filmmaker, you would rather maybe make like a Last Jedi where it is like some people may hate it, but then you have the people that like love it vitriol. To me, this is just like a it's not bad, it's not great, just kind of run-of-the-mill comic movie. So I think it is definitely mixed. But I think I don't know how like the general audience like. I'm interested to see like, well, Jessica, your family fell asleep. Emily liked it enough. She fell asleep, but she liked it, but she kind of has similar problems as us. Like Taylor, did you watch it with Madison?
No, we got home and it was like midnight and I was like popping it on. The cats fell asleep to it. They woke
Oh,
up
so
when
not
they
into
woke
the
up when
cats.
Cheetah.
They
popped
woke up when
though.
Cheetah came
Oh
out.
yeah.
Yeah. And Kirkland, what about Shay, who's creeping in
Yeah.
the background right there? What do you what did she like for someone that's like watches this stuff but not in the thick of it like us? What did she feel about it?
Yeah, well, like going into it, she was pretty positive. We both really loved the first film. But yeah, there was a lot of scenes that she was just kind of confused on, and like
Yeah.
rightfully so, because it just didn't really explain it fully. The whipping and like her flying, and a couple other like her just jumping. It looked kind of funny for her, so she laughed pretty hard at that stuff. But like overall, I'd say like she's kind of where I am, honestly. Like I feel not just, I guess we're just leading into my score, but like I feel like I'm honestly around like a 6 on this, and like that's like me honestly trying to be like nice too. Like I like earlier I thought I was gonna give it like a 5.5. Like I would never fail it whatsoever, but maybe
It's on
like
the edge.
yeah, it's definitely on the edge, and I feel like especially thinking about how special and how amazing that first film was, going to this where I'm expecting a lot of fun 80s stuff. I'm expecting, a lot of weird stuff with these villains that I just don't know anything about. And as soon as it was like, oh, you just make a wish, and then he kind of has you by the balls at that point, I'm like, okay, like I feel like this is such like an elementary school like kid could have thought of this. It's like, oh, this is the stone that grants wishes, and that's that. And it's just like, really? Okay. Like I guess so. Like I'm in it for the action and the great acting and all that stuff, but not really what I was looking forward to. So I would give it a 6. Oh, actually, and finish on something positive. That the reason why I'm putting it here is just because I forgot to mention earlier. But the earlier Hunger Games sort of scene, like what Travis, you were mentioning, I really liked that. I thought that was so awesome, and I also thought they killed it on that little girl, like casting wise. I thought she looked like such a good young Diana. I thought a lot of good similarities between her and Gal. So overall, I thought it was good. But
Taylor, what were your final points? And then you can just transition into a rating, I guess.
And
then we'll give if you guys have them, we'll rank our DC movies of the DCU cinematic universe.
My final points are overall, I'd recommend this movie. I'd tell people like, yeah, like go see it at some point, not right away. Don't rush to just like drop $30 on it because again, like
but
if
also,
you're in a group, that's fair. Do it. I mean, sure, if you're fans of DC.
I was gonna say this before I forgot to. When Kirk was talking about, that is the one positive thing is there's many big movies out there, so it's like that might be a reason why a lot of people may just still buy it or see it anyways because they're Soul. But like once after Soul, it's like since Tenet, there's not been big releases, right? And right now until like Black Widow, there's not a big release. So I can see a lot of people still, even if it's not reviewing the greatest with critics or people, like, I just want to watch a new movie. Like I want to see something that's new content.
I would say like to that point, I'd say people like if you want a new movie, I would just say buy it because if you buy it, it's going to be cheaper. You're paying the $15 a month for whatever subscription service if you're doing it through Amazon, I guess, or whatever VOD. Unless you do it separately, like through Cineplex, of course, then that's different because you're just paying the flat $30 fee. But at least, I mean, you're paying the same price to buy it, own it. And this is definitely a movie I could see myself owning. Like, I own the first one. I would own this for the collection because, I mean, in no way did I think it was
You're
terrible.
all about the collection.
I'm all about the collection, yeah. I don't
But
think...
you can't buy this yet, though.
No, but
No,
with how
right,
fast like Tenet came out really freaking fast, and like even Mulan, like as soon as that dropped free on Disney Plus, it came out on DVD.
I don't
so,
think
like,
Tenet came out that fast. Tenet came out
Okay.
December, August. Like okay, I won't count August, but like September, October, November, December. It was 4 months, so not as fast as you would
that's probably
think.
Nolan's request. Let's fucking make him.
That is an Nolan's request, 100%. So you're right. Wonder Woman could be a lot quicker, but how it works with HBO Max even is it's on there for 31 days, and then after 31 days, it goes just back to the theater. So you can only see it in theaters. It'll go off HBO Max. So I got to watch it a few more times.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, as I said, like it's not a super bad movie to me. It's not like a super great movie. And I definitely like the performances of the actors. I think again, like Gal Gadot was just fantastic. I love Pedro Pascal and like how he delivered. Again, like what you said, Travis, like the writing and what he had to do was probably not the best. I agree with you on that. But him delivering what he was supposed to and like to the best of his ability, he was just like insanely awesome. Get some flack here.
I wonder if that
That's not
showed
you.
up on the.
Oh, it did.
that was for Travis. He lowered my hand.
Oh, brutal. That's brutal. I think, and Kristen Wiig, again, like I said at the beginning of this review.
Christian Wiig. Who is Christian Wiig? I saw
Wiig.
Kristen Wiig.
It's the
but not
brother,
Christian
a
Wiig.
very religious chap of.
Her stunt double.
Yeah, I thought she was just fantastic. This is again my favorite performance. I stand by it. I loved her as the villain so much. I don't find it wavering at all after all our discussions of her as Cheetah or anything like that. I stand by it. She was great. And I'm gonna give a big shout out to Hans. He's just popping off from going to SpongeBob to this. He's just doing it. So, like there are so many of those tunes where Wonder Woman's theme in particular, I love her theme. And when we got that in BVS, it was like the goosebumps and chills with her reveal. And then when we got it in her movie, it was so much like so good. And I have that saved on my Spotify. So
he did like an 80s version of the theme, but I missed the guitar like I missed that just going hard, and it was all right, but so we still have some. Taylor, did you drop your score?
I'm gonna give it a I'm really torn because I want to give it a 7 out of 10 because it's not, I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. I'm gonna give it a 7. It's a 7.
Oh, you're
Okay.
weak.
So I gotta give my
6.5.
rating. Jessica gotta give my rating or give her rating, and then we're gonna rank these movies, and we're gonna do that right after our final ad break. All right, we are back. Jessica, I'll let you go last.
Since I got my hand raised.
Sorry, Kirklin has to button the line. He already has final thoughts, gave his score, but he needs to come back and be like, "Wow, I was watching the movie on the side while you were talking."
And Friends. That's what.
Kirklin and Friends, yeah, Kirklin and the Super Friends today.
I'm running the Zencaster, so I can go.
That's true. He can kick us out at any moment.
I basically just wanted to pose the question. I'm curious how this is actually going to do VOD wise, because I was honestly surprised. I was in a Zoom call yesterday with my auntie who lives in Michigan. I don't even think she knows too much of or loves comic book movies, but she was really looking forward to this movie. And this is a sequel to a $1 billion movie, so a lot of people were
not $1 billion.
Did you crush your dreams? Just tell me it was a 6 out of 10.
Oh, okay.
Just ruin it for her.
Yeah. Don't. No. Did you buy it, Auntie? You
it's
fucking
funny.
idiot! Come on, you're wasting your
yesterday
money.
Yesterday she texted me, and I'm like, I think you guys will love it, Well,
I don't know. I think if you're thinking about so Jessica's family fell asleep, but if you're thinking of if you have people over or you just want to watch something, I don't think it's so bad. Where I don't think it's Suicide Squad where it's I really regret this. There's still some enjoyable stuff. Yeah, there's some logic problems, there's some plot problems, but I don't think it's so bad where it's I could see it doing well. How well it does, I don't know, because it's just you have VOD in Canada, you have theaters somewhere, you have HBO Max. Today and this weekend now this movie's going to be everywhere, torrenting sites. And this is all I say is you just don't do it, because if you want these movies, this might be the only way we can watch them right now. HBO said we're doing the rest of the movies like that the rest of the year, and if it doesn't work, what happens if they just pull off the schedule? Everybody's watching. It's the same way at Disney. Black Widow's supposed to come out in May. Does that mean it just goes fully theaters? Does it do a double like this is doing? Do they delay it again? All eyes are on us to see how it does, and I don't know if they'll release those numbers. It's kind of like Xbox and PS5. They've still not released their sales number. Other people have taken
our most successful, highest grossing release of all time, and then the real numbers come out.
Well, yeah, there's analytics people that come out and say, hey, we pulled it from this, these are the numbers, and you'll get that. You'll get some sort of, this is how many people watched it. I think in the theaters it did 10, 15 million domestically. I don't know what that means as far as Tenet. Don't compare that. Don't compare that to real world. If you're Wonder Woman's a bomb, it doesn't matter. Theaters aren't open a bunch of places. It's just you have to compare it to Tenet now and see what that did. So I think with the Christmas season, it will do. I think it will do well. I think it will but America, it doesn't matter, because it's just you just have HBO Max and you just pay for that and you're good.
Yeah.
It's not I guess the calculation of how successful is how much subscriptions went up. I guess that's what it will be, right? And how many people I guarantee you the same way kind of YouTube does it now. If you'll have to greenlight a sequel, let's say there's 10 new projects, and they'll say, okay, what were the top 3 most watched? If Birds of Prey came out in HBO Max, and let's say in the theaters it didn't do that well, it did fine, but let's say on HBO Max, tons of people streamed it, everything like that. They go, oh, let's do another one. But in pre-COVID, with the money, went, nah. With this, I think you will see a third Wonder Woman. I think enough people will watch it. It is a big name. It will be interesting down the line when we get Wonder Woman or when we get Godzilla versus Godzilla.
Godzilla, fuck, give it to me. Tanks everywhere.
But like Godzilla versus Kong, it's very interesting because like I know Taylor loves those movies, but each of those movies that have been the new franchise have been going down and down. And the last King Kong lost money for the studio, but on streaming, do more people check that out at home? I don't know. We're in this like another 2021 is gonna be interesting to see. I do think Wonder Woman will do well though, at least as far as the new standards of streaming. Does it break the box office bank? Does it make them back their money? I don't know. Kirklin Patrick, your first podcast, who started this conversation.
And like last thing on this is, I mean, me, obviously I gave it a 6 out of 10. I didn't love this movie, but like for me and Shay just sitting in, Christmas Day, I was honestly happy with spending $30 on this. Like I feel like I got my money out. Like I'll probably watch it again even before, just to really see how I feel about some of the scenes that I feel like maybe I kind of missed first go around. But
yeah,
I don't know, like let's say I'm going to the movie full price, driving there, the inconvenience of leaving my
same
house
money.
and funneling up. Yeah, like buying snacks and stuff. Like it's really the same money. And I was able to pause and rewind a couple scenes that I wouldn't have been able to have. You have some buddy farting next to you. Like I feel like I got. Shouts out to Taylor.
Little fucking Todd just ripping away.
Looking at Taylor while he does it too, and then Taylor looks at the mom to be like, "Are you gonna do anything?" And she just ignores him.
Like this, with the shirt over the face.
She was just like, "Oh wow, his nose is cold."
Hilarious. But yeah, like I don't know. And then also just hearing from like my auntie that I didn't even know that she was really interested in this. She was obviously. I guess there it's different because she actually has HBO Max. She's down in the States.
Get her review and let us know her opinion of the movie.
I'm gonna text her and ask her how she liked it.
That's the second review. We're just gonna get all our families on a Zoom call and be like, "What did you think about it?" But I will go because I'll leave the lady the last.
Mr. Gentleman.
I don't know. I'm stuck in. I'll give it a 7 for now. I could see it going to a 6.5. I could see it going to a 7.5. I only watched it once and a half. I was gonna try it again, then I fell asleep during it last night. But yeah, like I said, I liked it. It's enjoyable. 7.5. If it is 7, it says that to me. That's like I will watch this again one day. There was enough that I enjoyed it. I had some big problems, but nothing that like offended me as far as like a Squad or, sorry Taylor, Ghost Rider, like something like this is awful. I think it's like, oh, this is not well written, this is bad, but nothing where like this is offensively bad. Just okay, maybe you could have looked over the script one more and been like, hey, how could we fix this or how could we iron this out? But
Me too,
yeah, and I know Kirkland, you gave it a lower tier than me.
I'm crying at Ghost Rider.
Oh yeah.
Ghost Rider's fucking abysmal.
You say that was a violently written movie or script? Did you say violently written or?
No, I think I just said poorly.
No,
I don't think I said.
You said it like.
You heard violently.
I heard violently.
I said
written.
violently.
Taylor's just getting violent because we're talking bad about Ghost Rider.
There's gonna be some discourse.
Huh, bruh? You saying bad
this.
shit about Ghost Rider,
go
bruh?
yell at Madison after the podcast.
Yeah. Hey, did you poo? 'Cause you smell like shit. Check out the last After 9 for that conversation. Jessica, what is your rating? And then you can transition into your ranking, and then we'll go around the room and do that, and then we'll end this podcast.
Oh, great! I get to start the rankings.
Boom, boom, boom.
So yeah, even though Mr. Muss is no longer with us,
He's
just
alive.
on the podcast, he not chat or anything.
Yeah. He didn't move. We've been lying to you for 3 months. He wished for other people's organs and it didn't work out for him.
Yeah, I don't really do the whole number thing anymore, but my rating of this is have enough people to pitch in to make it worth it, or just wait till it's free, or you can buy it for the same price as renting it.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't mention this yet, but I did it with Scene Points, so it only cost me $15. It was worth $15 to me. Yeah. It gave me, that night of entertainment.
Put the family to sleep.
Put the family to sleep. I got to watch a movie, some fucking peace and quiet. But yeah, I don't think I'm not gonna support paying again to rent it for Matt to watch it. So sorry, Matt, sucks to suck. But yeah, I might watch it again with him when it is on Netflix or whatever it's on at that time. But right now, I'm not in a rush to watch it again. I kind of just felt severely disappointed with it. I feel like the timing was off. That definitely something should have been cut from the beginning to put more time at the end to kind of wrap things up a little nicer. Overall, you know, it's a pass, but it's like I sat on my phone more than I wanted to get through it.
There you go. And your
yeah.
ranking.
My ranking of current. I don't want to go first. This isn't. You guys are gonna shit on
That's
me.
fine.
Lead us in.
There's no shitting people. It's all pins, you know. Except for
Oh,
Taylor,
there's gonna be shit on, yeah.
KFC.
So
What? Oh,
KFC.
right, KFC, right? Because he ate KFC and he's gonna shit later. Apparently, I don't know.
I didn't
Taylor's an
say
old
that. I
fucking
don't know where
fan.
you're pulling that
It'll
from.
smell like poo.
Yeah. Hey Taylor, do you smell like poo?
Hey Taylor, do you smell like poo?
I love how offended you are too by the idea that you're gonna have to shit later. Like that's not how the human body functions when you eat food.
No, I like to make
No, he just
bowel
holds it in for a whole
movement.
year. He holds it in for a whole year and just.
He's coming up on New
downloads
Year's
I
Eve.
prefer
yeah.
to coming up
Mentally
once a year.
preparing.
I prefer
It's
bowel
like the scene in
movements to
Jurassic
shitting.
Park 3 when there's the big mounds of shit that's his backyard on December 31st. Maston's just there hosing it down. God,
Can't find
Taylor.
his phone, so then he hears his ringtone on the pile.
Doodle-doo-doo, doodle-doo-doo. Hey, you smell like shit because you gotta get that phone. Again, check out After 9. It all makes sense.
Oh.
Jessica, do you want to go? I can go if you want.
It's okay.
Yep.
I'll go. So this is based off of me. I think the only one that I've watched recently would be the Wonder Woman. Other than that, it's like
The
when I
Wonder
saw
Woman.
them in theaters.
The Wonder
Woman
Woman.
84 or
Yeah.
the Wonder Woman?
The Wonder Woman.
I've never seen The Wonder Woman. I've seen Wonder Woman, but not The Wonder Woman.
So Wonder Woman 84. All the rest has been like in theaters. I maybe watched Suicide Squad once on Netflix whenever ago. So this is all kind of just pulling it out of my memory bank and how it made me feel. Happy moment at the time. So I'm gonna go. Here we go. I'm just ready to be shit on.
Is this top or bottom?
Oh, do you want me to go from the bottom? I'll
Go
go from the
bottom.
Whatever
bottom.
you want. It's your list.
No. I'm
Okay,
telling you,
Kirkland's being a
bottom up.
man. He's using his white privilege to say, "No, woman, you go how I say you go."
Okay, so I'm gonna go from the bottom up. Sorry, Kirkland. So I got number 9. I got Batman vs Superman.
Oh,
I just remember not enjoying it. Just terrible, bored. And I know it's not Suicide Squad, so we'll just get that out of the way. I already realized that. And then I'm gonna go with Justice League
okay.
for 8. And then I do have Suicide Squad at 7. And then Wonder Woman 84, 6. 5, I have Aquaman. 4, I have the first Wonder Woman.
The Wonder Woman.
The Wonder Woman, yeah. 3 is Man of Steel. And I will defend that when I'd seen that, I didn't know anything about Superman. That was actually the first Superman movie I'd ever seen.
Wow.
So it kind of actually was not bad because I didn't know what to kind of like compare it to.
Yeah.
Oh, tons of people love that movie. Some people say it's like the greatest comic movie of all time. It's okay to be wrong, but some people say that.
And then I don't know which way. I feel like I'm going to go Birds of Prey at 2. And unfortunately for me, because I feel like this is going to be controversial, I'm going to put Shazam at 1. I enjoyed the shit out of Shazam. Absolutely loved, laughed my ass off. So yeah, that's my controversial ranking.
I'll go next because I already showed you guys my list, so it's not as fun. I'll leave Kirkland and Taylor last. So last I have The Abomination, known as Suicide Squad. It's always going to be last. I think that's one of the worst comic movies of all time. Gave us Jared Leto's Hunka Hunka, so there we go. Next is Justice League, just a fucking monster Frankenstein of the movie. There's a reason they're redoing this movie, and it's about to be a whole 4-hour version instead of 2-hour version. And one, it's because the fans are very passionate, but two, it kind of sucks when this is supposed to be your Avengers, and you look at the Avengers that spawned this huge franchise, and this almost like not killed DC, but it definitely put a couple bullet holes in them, and they survived. So, next up, I have Shazam at 7. I don't think so. Those last two movies I don't like. I like every movie up from then, but I have Shazam. I enjoyed it. Didn't enjoy it as much as the second watch. I remember we did the review, Taylor, Jessica, and you guys really, really liked it. I liked it enough, so it's good. Man of Steel. It's a movie I'm like warming up to. I fell asleep for the very first time in theaters, and then ever since there's still things I really don't like about it. So it's like a passable. It's like a 6. I have liked it a bit more over the years, but I still kind of say, if people ask me, do you like Man of Steel? I kind of usually go, no, not really. But I could be argued to like liking it.
So then, how is it above Shazam?
What? Because so Shazam to me is a safe movie where I think Superman still takes a lot more risks. I don't think they always pan off, but I think there's something memorable moments like the whole big. I don't like the Superman and Lois making out a bunch of fucking dead bodies around, but like the last fight with him and Zod in the sky is super memorable, and the visuals, and like everyone in Shazam is fine. I like Zachary Levi's Shazam, but I think Henry Cavill is really good as Superman, so that's why. That's why I would rate Shazam and Man of Steel like a 6 kind of evenly. So it could flip back and forth, but I still give Man of Steel the edge just because it gave a bit more of an edge. Wonder Woman 1984 kind of middle of the pack. I just talked about it, so I don't need to tell you what I thought about Wonder Woman 1984. You got to listen back 2 hours. BVS I have up here because I like great moments and performances. I don't think it's a well-made movie. I think like visually it's great, and I think performances are great, but I think there's tons of story problems, writing problems, editing problems. I don't like a lot of stuff they do with Batman and things like that. It's a very, very messy movie. I don't think it's a good movie, but this isn't the best of. This is my ranking. 3, Aquaman. I just watched again today. I fucking love Aquaman. It's just like I've said before, Jason Momoa is this generation's Brendan Fraser. I just love the adventure aspect of it. Number 2 is The Wonder Woman, the 2017 movie. That was number 1 for a while. I love it. It's, kind of has a lot of things that this movie was lacking, but it's great. And then number 1 is Birds of Prey, which I think is a top 15 comic movie. Doesn't quite reach the top 10 for me, but it's a superhero breakup film. And again, talking about movies that do something differently. If Deadpool's like a rom-com superhero movie, it's the breakup superhero movie. And Harley Quinn, Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn is ecstatic. And so that's number 1. I think it's going to be number 1 for a while. I love that movie. I've watched that quite a bit already since it's come out in February. So, Kirklin, I'll throw to you next because you've not seen all the movies. So we'll leave Taylor for last.
So I'll just do best 7 because I haven't seen 2 of the movies on there. I feel like it's pretty fraudulent to rate them somewhere. Even though
You're going to watch Man of Steel next year, though. We're doing it for Zack Snyder's Justice
I'm really
League
excited.
Radio Retro.
And then I'm sure I'll watch Shazam at some point. Was it on Netflix, actually? I feel like it was.
Probably not, because I think
okay.
all the Warner movies will probably go to Crave now. Because same like Wonder Woman, it'll probably go to Crave because that they have a deal with Crave instead of Netflix now. So
okay, yeah, so I'll watch it at some point, and then definitely Man of Steel. So
I got the 3D cover.
There you go.
Oh, look at that! What's in the bottom corner? What's that little sticker? What does it come with? Superhero
Hooky.
Superhero Hooky. The exclusive motion comic. Oh, fuck if I know what that is.
Nice. I'll check that out.
Just so you know, Shazam is not on there, but the Man of now everything's but Man of Steel is.
The Man of Steel. You're doing the Rock thing. You're adding that to everything.
Yeah, well, the Man of Steel is on Netflix. There is no the Shazam though.
Oh, okay. I'll do my searches and see what pops up.
Nothing pops up.
All right, so starting at the bottom, number 7, I'm gonna do Suicide Squad. I think I've seen it once. We reviewed it, and I think I've seen like 10 minutes.
Well, no, remember you don't even remember we did the Patreon.
Oh
watch
yeah, okay. So there we go. So that's the 10 minutes that I remember. So yes,
Yeah.
I've seen it twice.
This bird is big.
Yeah, so Suicide Squad, I have issues with that without going into it. Justice League, I feel like it's just a tiny notch up from Suicide Squad, honestly. I honestly feel like if I watched them both back to back, maybe Suicide Squad could be above that one. I really had a lot of issues with that movie, like everyone did, but in the theaters, I was just so shaking my head. I remember being in the theater first time watch and just being like, I can't believe this is what they put together. Like, this is just crazy. But anyways, without shit on DC too hard. Moving up, I have Wonder Woman 84. really don't have anything to say. Go listen to our review that we just did. Batman vs Superman. I really did like that movie, but it like Travis said, it's very messy. There's a lot of problems with it, but that's just where it ended up on my list. And then Aquaman number 3. I really like that movie. It's not perfect, but it's an enjoyable watch. Number 2. I was going back and forth with these two, my top 2, but I'm actually gonna put Birds of Prey number 2. Yeah, I really liked it. I feel like I haven't seen it as many times as Wonder Woman though. So Wonder Woman, obviously number 1. I absolutely love that movie. There's so many amazing scenes in it. I thought it was such a amazing first lead role for this character. Obviously we had her in BVS and Justice League, but oh no, I guess this one came out before Justice League, but I love this movie. So yeah. Number 1.
Kirklin, or thank you for
I'll
your
go
list.
again.
Taylor.
Number 7, Suicide
Taylor, end us off, and then we'll get out of here.
So let's do it the other way. The other way is usually I feel comfortable, feel safe, feel secure.
Such
I
an
don't feel like-
outlier.
don't feel like someone's
Always
just gonna grab me or grab my arm or anything like that. So, number 1 for me is, and this was tricky because I was fighting around with this, but I'm gonna give it to BVS. I actually
Number 1,
yeah, number
really?
one.
Wow.
I actually quite enjoy BVS. For the longest time,
the
I definitely-
BVS.
BVS
The
number one.
BVS.
Yeah. For the longest time, I really enjoyed Wonder Woman, and that was easily my number 1. But BVS, just watching it a few more times and getting Wonder Woman's appearance in there, getting Superman, getting Batman, I love all that, and getting even the excitement of seeing the footage of Aquaman just poking his head out for 3 seconds, even though it was weird, but it was just enough to get me excited of what's to come. And again, I'm excited what's to come. Snyder's cut. But it's number 1. So my number 2, as you can
My
guess-
hands up. I'm just gonna mention that I'm very excited to see where Suicide ranks. Already hit the Suicide Squad, which is a 10 out of 10 movie. Is not number 1. So just bear that in mind.
Well, there you go. So additionally, I have obviously Wonder Woman is number 2. I think that what's going on? Why are people laughing and stuff?
I don't know. We'll discuss
Disappeared.
it. What happened?
Gaslighting me.
There's a
What-
girl on the
what
left
is
side of
it?
his screen sliding down the screen.
She's on the other side now.
Oh, is
So
it on
there's-
YouTube? That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
For the
Yeah, there's
past
so-
2 hours, if
Far?
you've been tuning in, I've had Patty Jenkins.
noticed it's been
popping
moving.
in. Yeah, Patty
Okay, it's
Jenkins.
Patty
has been
Jenkins.
popping
Is
That's
that
who that
Patty
is.
Jenkins,
Yeah.
the
She's been,
director of
sliding
Wonder
in
Woman?
on
and
either
stuff?
side, back and forth every so often. So I'm glad someone noticed. Oh, fun.
Continue. Number 2.
Number 2 is Wonder Woman. Number 3 is Birds of Prey. Really, definitely enjoyed a lot of the things they did with that movie. It was just fantastic.
That was number 3.
Number 3 is Birds of Prey. Yeah.
What was 2? I
Number
keep missing
2,
2.
Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman.
Thank you. Sir.
Number 4 is Shazam. Number 5 is Aquaman. Number 6 is.
Fucking kidding me?
I would put Wonder Woman 84. This is number 6.
Oh my You're telling me Suicide Squad is in the bottom 2 of your list and it's a 10 out of 10 movie?
I would put Suicide Squad as number 7.
At the
Man
time.
of Steel is number 8, and then Justice League is number 9. And what am I missing? Was there one more in there?
No, you got them all.
No,
okay,
there's
yeah.
9.
Yeah.
Wow.
Suicide Squad was 10 out of 10 at the time. Let's
Well, they
not
put
bring
out,
past
they put
Taylor
out
in
better
this.
DC movies since then, so.
No, wait a second. BVS came out before, and you gave that like
Did
a
it
9
really?
when we reviewed it. Yes, it did. And
Holy
even when we
shit.
watched it for the Patreon watch along, you're like, I'd still give this a 10. Like, so you didn't double back on it or anything. You still like, oh boy.
It's
well,
definitely not bottom 2. I still enjoyed some of it. Poo Monsters.
all right. Who Wants Us All? Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you're interested in any of that stuff, check out our Patreon because we have Suicide Squad up there. We're going to be doing Man of Steel and BVS for it soon as far as commentary tracks and retros because we'll be getting ready because the next DC movie, which is not going to be controversial at all, is going to be the 4-hour Snyder Cut Justice League movie. And yeah, I'm sure nobody's going to get their panties in a bunch on that one. There's rumors it might not be a series anymore. It might just be a full movie, but we will be reviewing it. And oh man, it's going to be exciting. So you guys have anything to say before we get out of here?
Nope.
It won't be boring.
It won't be boring, and we will see you, the fans, later
The
on.
fans.
Bye-bye.
Merry holidays and all that jazz.
Happy New Year.